Chapter 563. In the Cloud Village, there were ruins everywhere, and corpses were everywhere. It was no longer as prosperous as one of the 5 major ninja villages. The battle between Six Paths Pain and the Hachibi's Jinchuriki. The destructive power is even more amazing. The ground within a radius of 100 meters is razed to the ground. Ordinary ninjas are in danger of dying in the place where the two are fighting, let alone participating in the battle. Giant centipedes, hellhounds, chameleons, giant eagles, one-horned rhinoceroses, and other large summon beasts wantonly in the Cloud Village, containing a large number of elite ninjas. The power of a ninja lies in the inheritance of ninjutsu, and ninjutsu is the foundation of the ninja village. Even if each of the 5 major ninja villages has tens of thousands or even more than 20,000 registered ninjas, most of the ordinary ninjas don't know much ninjutsu at all. As the village's higher-ups, how can they let the low-level ninjas come in contact with too much power? If you are not a confidant, if you are not a genius, the village's higher-ups won't even look at you. In the face of a ninja of Pain's level, 80% of the ninjas in the Cloud Village have no resistance. Even if it's just Pain's summon beast, it's enough to wreak havoc among ordinary ninjas. Shinobu Hinata's small room. I didn't expect to wait for a big fish. Tensigen opened the satellite link. Hinata sat on the bed with juice and pastries beside him, ready to enjoy the wonderful battle between Pain and Killer Bino. Hinata shook her head fiercely. I want to come back and kill them. Hinata felt that he was watching the battle from a high altitude before, and he must have been discovered, so no one dared to appear near the Cloud Village. After all, I'm the eldest daughter of a Hyuga family. So Hinata decided to retreat for the time being and monitor the battle in the Cloud Village through the satellite to see if there will be someone behind the scenes. Hinata. I'm so smart. Although he didn't see bordered soil and black zetsu, Yurashi's importance is much greater than these two. Capturing bordered soil and black zetsu could only mean that the two of them were plotting something. At most, Hinata could only prepare in advance. However, capturing Pushur would mean that Hinata's strength would rise to another level. Yoshimi Ryasaka. Hinata's eyes locked onto Pushur through the lens of the satellite. The Pooh style is too weak. Hinata couldn't stand it anymore. It was obvious that they were dealing with more than 100 ordinary ninjas from the Cloud Village. The strongest one was only an elite jonin. Even Kakashi couldn't compare with them. However, Pushur actually showed off his physical skills. It was a long story. After all, Hinata's identity is quite special. If there is a Cloud Ninja nearby, Hinata can't easily appear. Yurashi has already started collecting ninja's chakra. Hinata recalled a little bit of information about Pushur. According to the future Sasuke, Pushur did arrive in the ninja world before Yao Shur and Jin Shur, and he also collected a lot of information in the ninja world. But, whether it's the original Naruto or the future Sasuke, Pushur shouldn't be exposed so early. Even if there is a butterfly effect, it should change the world of Naruto. What does it have to do with an alien like Pushur? Hinata couldn't figure it out, but if he can't figure it out, then he won't think about it. He will just wait for the right time to deal with Pushur. But before that, I have to find a place where I can safely absorb chakra. Hinata monitored Pushur while controlling the other satellites to look for a place to hide. I didn't prepare a secret base in advance. I'm really too lazy. I can only use Orochimaru's base. Orochimaru also has a secret base in the Cloud Village. Hinata glanced at it and found that it was empty. Very good. After this period of hard work. Well, although Hinata often doesn't do much, as long as he is excited, he can work hard for several days. Today, omniscience and omnipotence is no longer a burden for Hinata. Even if he teleported from Shinobu to the Cloud Village, it's just a matter of a thought. Seeing that Pushur finally finished dealing with all the Cloud Ninjas, Hinata immediately activated omniscience and omnipotence. In the black and white world, Pushur moved from his original position to 100 meters away. Hinata's figure condensed in front of Pushur and pressed the yin-yang seal on Pushur's body. Dojutsu was lifted. In the Cloud Village, the last Cloud Ninja fell at Pushur's feet. Pushur put away the chakra on the red light hook and waved the red light fishing rod to kill the fallen Cloud Ninja. Although the chakra of these natives is a little low level, it seems Pusher's face showed a trace of doubt. He stretched out his right hand. Wind, thunder, water, fire, earth, 5 types of chakra rotated in Pusher's palm. If a ninja saw this scene, he would be shocked to the point of doubting life. Just by perceiving the chakra, he knew that once this move is launched, it's at least an S-class ninjutsu. This is the power of the Otsutsuki clan. Although there is no concept of jutsu in the Otsutsuki clan, the ninjutsu system for Pusher is as simple as a college student learning a textbook for primary school students. After all, Pusher was an expert who could use the bloodstain net. It seems that I have to continue to collect more. Pusher muttered to himself. His feet unconsciously moved forward. Thinking about it, Pusher has already walked about 100 meters. Oh! Pusher's eyes widened. His face was full of disbelief. His chakra was sealed. Time backtrack was instantly activated. Everything that happened in the past 10 seconds was like a movie. Pusher replayed dozens of times in front of him. No one. Pusher couldn't believe that his chakra was sealed, but he couldn't find who attacked him. Yo! Hinata appeared in front of Pusher out of thin air, his feet about 50 centimeters above the ground, floating in the air, hands behind his back, looking at Pusher with a playful look. As for the appearance of the green light, Hinata was really embarrassed to mention it. For green light, truth-seeking balls instantly turned into sticks, fiercely inserted into Pusher's limbs, sealing his whole body's movement. It's you? Pusher's face was ferocious. He said in disbelief. Didn't you already leave? Humph. You really did find me before. Hinata looked like he was standing at the peak of intelligence. His face was not red. His heart was not beating fast. He said, "This is called tactics, temporarily retreating to lure you out." Floating forward, Hinata put his hand on Pusher's body. Omniscient and omnipotent was activated again. The two disappeared at the same time. Bang. Putting Pusher on the experiment table, Hinata held his chin with both hands, thinking about what to do next. Pusher struggled with all his strength, but whether it was chakra or his body, there was no resistance at all. Impossible. Pusher's face was ferocious. He shouted, "I can't die according to history. I should have traveled through time, and then..." Hinata blinked. "Then what, aren't you still going to die?" Chapter 564. As he spoke, even Pusher himself was stunned. "I shouldn't have come to this world. If history can't be changed, then Pusher will use the noble phantasm to travel through time and space in the near future, and then he will be killed by the people in that time and space, and his chakra will be stripped. But if history can be changed, then Pusher has no room to turn over at this moment." In other words, now that Pusher had fallen into Hinata's hands, it was time for him to die. "Pusher, do you know why I let you go last time?" Hinata's brain was spinning at this moment, and he found a perfect excuse for his previous mistake. "Of course, it's to monopolize your chakra." "Don't worry." Hinata looked at Pusher with a smile and comforted him kindly. "I'm very fast, it really doesn't hurt at all." But before that, without giving Pusher a chance to speak, Hinata hit Pusher's head with a soft punch. Soft punch, brain concussion. If it wasn't for the strong recovery of the Otsutsuki clan's body, even if this palm can't kill Pusher, I'm afraid that he will be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. Huh. Hinata breathed a sigh of relief and put his right hand on Pusher's chest, and a green spiritual ball slowly entered Pusher's body. Memory search. In the endless dark space, Hinata's will turned into a human form and floated quietly in the void. How can this be? Hinata frowned slightly. Pusher's memory can't be searched? No. With a thought, the environment around Hinata changed instantly, and a brain floated in front of Hinata. It's really an illusion seal. The previous illusion seal is just Pusher's Rinnegan with the power of yin and yang, and the level of the illusion seal is not too strong. And Hinata not only learned the high-level illusion knowledge of the Uchiha clan from Itachi Uchiha, but he also secretly learned the secret of the Yamanaka clan. This level of illusion has no effect on Hinata at all. Then next, Hinata slowly floated in front of the brain, ready to use the ability of Tensigen, plus the secret of the Yamanaka clan to explore Pusher's memory. The scenes that Pusher experienced before flashed in front of Hinata's eyes like a movie, eliminating some useless memories. Hinata continued to explore the depths of Pusher's memory. Is this the Otsutsuki clan? Even with Hinata's knowledge, he couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the current situation of the Otsutsuki clan. Since God knows how many years ago, the Otsutsuki clan has invaded countless planets. S is the scions TSSSSSSSSSS. TSSSSSSSSS. SSSSS. TSSS. Hinata previously thought that Otsutsuki Kagaya was already the strongest in this clan. However, after countless years of accumulation, the strength of this clan was beyond Hinata's imagination. The Otsutsuki Mitsubishi was just a new generation of the main family. Their family background was not something Hinata could understand. If Hinata followed his previous idea, and thought that he could plunder this family with the power of the ten-tailed beast, he would not even know how he died. Fortunately, the Otsutsuki clan is not united, and civil wars often occur. Moreover, the Otsutsuki clan only needs to swallow the fruit of the divine tree to gain great power, so they don't care too much about the foundation. The clansmen also rely on the power of blood to fight the enemy. Because they have never encountered an evenly matched opponent, the Otsutsuki clan has never paid attention to such things as foundation. From this point of view, they are somewhat similar to the aliens in Dragon Ball. Although the Earthlings in the Dragon Balls were weak, once they became strong, they could completely beat up the aliens who didn't pay attention to their foundations. In addition, the purpose of the Otsutsuki clan is only to transcend their own strength and lifespan, and they don't seem to have any interest in ruling the universe. Perhaps he is too confident in his own strength. In Mitsubishiki's mind, except for the initial genjutsu defense spontaneously formed by the Rinnegan, there is no resistance at all. All of Mitsubishiki's memories seem to be unguarded, allowing Hinata to check them freely. Transform chakra fruit. So it must be my own will to take the initiative? Mitsubishiki is not a Jinchuriki, but integrated with the divine tree. In the Otsutsuki clan, as long as the clansmen of the main family reach adulthood, they can take a divine tree fruit and gain great power. In addition, the main family, as the ruler of the Otsutsuki clan, can also accept chakra from the branch family. But if you want to gain more power, even the people of the main family must go to other worlds to plant divine trees. Relatively speaking, the people of the main family will be assigned to the planet with the best resources. As long as the divine tree continues to be planted, one day the quantitative change will lead to a qualitative change, and they will become an immortal existence like Kagaya. In Mitsubishiki's memory, there is also a way to plant the divine tree. Speaking of planting the divine tree, Hinata's eyes lit up. He can plant the divine tree. And the world of Naruto is different. Even in the Otsutsuki clan's classification of world levels, the world of Naruto belongs to the highest level of planet. If it weren't for the 3 holy lands condensing a large amount of natural energy, the abnormality of the world of Naruto would have been discovered by the Otsutsuki clan. The 3 holy lands can't be destroyed, but I can forcibly occupy one. Once the 3 holy lands are destroyed, the world of Naruto can naturally recover a large amount of natural energy, but it will be noticed by the Otsutsuki clan. Ryuchi Cave. Hinata made up his mind. After he transforms the chakra fruit, he will occupy the Ryuchi Cave, destroy the Snake Clan, and then plant the divine tree in the Ryuchi Cave. Thinking of this, Hinata no longer hesitated and controlled Mitsubishiki through the spiritual sphere, making him voluntarily transform into the chakra fruit. His will withdrew from Mitsubishiki's mind. On the experiment table, Mitsubishiki's body bloomed with white light, illuminating the laboratory. In the white light, Mitsubishiki's figure gradually became transparent, and his ego, will, and thoughts began to disappear. This is the true meaning of death. When the white light dissipated, Mitsubishiki has completely disappeared, and a chakra fruit emitted a faint light and floated into Hinata's hand. From today onwards, I will transcend this world. Hinata no longer hesitated and swallowed the chakra fruit in one bite. This world has parallel universes. Hinata has seen a movie in his previous life, and the setting in it is that as long as you kill all your parallel universes, you can become a god. And in the records of the Otsutsuki clan, as long as one's strength reaches a certain level, one can become the only one in all parallel universes, becoming a true god in the true sense. Of course, This doesn't mean that Hinata and other universes will disappear, but they will become the power projection of Hinata, and can be taken back at any time. Chapter 565. After eating such a powerful chakra fruit, there are no special effects? After eating the chakra fruit, Hinata felt that his physique, chakra amount, eye power, vitality, and other aptitudes were greatly improved. When Uchiha-bordered soil became the Jubi's Jinchuriki, he was wrapped in the black ball and had a transformation process. Well, maybe it's because my foundation is too strong. This level of improvement is not enough to make me have a qualitative change. Hinata clenched his fists. After swallowing the chakra fruit, Hinata's strength did improve to a certain extent, but it was not as big as Hinata imagined. If you use data to describe it, then Hinata's attributes improved a little, and the blue and red bars increased greatly. However, in reality, the meaning of the blue and red bars is very big. Not to mention the amount of chakra, the increase in vitality means that Hinata's lifespan has been greatly improved. Yes, a big heroine like me should always be 18 years old. However, Hinata has stored a lot of natural energy in the yin-yang seal. Lifespan is not so important for Hinata in a short period of time. The improvement of his physique is the real benefit that Hinata can see now. Take Uchiha Madara in the Jubi's Jinchuriki state. Although he can fight against Uchiha Madara, a Kai who has opened 7 gates can't break Uchiha Madara's defense. Although Hashirman Kai almost kicked out the big ending, Uchiha Madara almost recovered from his injury in an instant. And Hinata's physique at the moment is not much worse than Uchiha Madara in the Jubi's Jinchuriki state. After all, Uchiha Madara is only the Jubi's Jinchuriki, and Hinata at the moment is perfectly integrated with the sacred tree. He stretched out his finger and pointed at the void in front of him, and the blue water slowly condensed into a mirror. As expected, his skin has turned pale. With a thought, Hinata's pale skin returned to its original state, becoming white and tender. It's more pleasing to the eye this way. And Hinata's brows furrowed slightly and then slowly relaxed. In the center of Hinata's forehead, a crack suddenly appeared. The crack slowly grew larger, and the red 6-tomo Rinnegan appeared between Hinata's eyebrows. Feeling the eye power contained in the 6-tomo Rinnegan, the eye techniques mastered by the eyes were clearly engraved in Hinata's mind as if they were instinctive. This feeling. It was as if we were born knowing that our eyes were used to see and our noses were used to smell. There was no need to learn or master it. It was an innate instinct. Pusher actually has this kind of eye power. Hinata was truly stunned. Feeling the eye power of the 6-tomo Rinnegan, at this moment, even the long-awaited Yomi no Miyazaka that Hinata looked down on, Pusher, actually has the ability to control time. Like Kamui, Flying Thunder God Jutsu, Yomi no Miyazaka and other ninjutsu, although they are crowned as space-time ninjutsu, they are essentially space-time ninjutsu and have nothing to do with time. As for Hinata's omniscience and omnipotence, although he can see the short future, and even attack the enemy in the future, it's just a matter of time. However, Pusher was different. He had truly touched upon the forbidden domain of time. Although he only touched the surface, it has a strong growth potential. Time backtrack. It allows one to go back a few seconds from the present time, and experience the enemy's moves dozens of times to see the opponent's moves clearly and choose the safest way to deal with it. Hinata fought with Pusher 3 times, but he never saw Pusher use this eye technique. He didn't expect Pusher to be hiding such a trump card. Time backtrack can only be used before the opponent attacks you. Before the opponent's attack touches you, you have to repeatedly observe the opponent's moves and choose the safest way to deal with it. But once the opponent's attack has already hit you, even if you use time backtrack, when the eye technique fails, you will still be in the state of being hit. So that's how it is. After understanding the nature of time backtrack, Hinata finally understood why Pusher didn't use this trick. For Pusher, time backtrack is actually quite useless. Anyway, no matter what the opponent uses, Pusher can use Shinra Tensei to bounce it back. In this way, time backtrack is not so important. But for Hinata, the significance of this technique wasn't its power, but the fact that it touched upon the taboo of time. No matter in which world, time is a real taboo. This is potential. Once Hinata completes the leap of life essence and becomes an immortal existence like Otsutsuki Kagaya, the ability of this technique will be greatly improved. It will become a real-time ninjutsu. If one day Hinata's life essence surpasses Otsutsuki Kagaya, then this technique will be really terrifying. Time. What's more, although time backtrack can't reverse the established facts that have already happened in reality, the moment the eye technique is activated, time is actually paused for the user. For example, Hinata used time backtrack to see what happened in the past 10 seconds 10 times. Then for Hinata, it is equivalent to the world being paused for 100 seconds. It's just that time backtrack can't reverse time. At first glance, time backtrack might be the same as Itachi Uchiha's Tsukuyomi. After all, 3 days in Tsukuyomi's world is equivalent to 1 second in the outside world. But the essence of the two is different. The mental world is the mental world, and time ninjutsu is time ninjutsu. Even if the performance is similar, and in a sense, time backtrack is not as good as Tsukuyomi, the growth potential of the two is different. Awesome. Voice breaking. Hinata's expression was extremely excited. Space. Yomi no Miyazaka. Time backtrack. At the same time, he has mastered space and time, and he can attack the enemy in the future. Once Hinata grows up, how can the Otsutsuki clan be a match for Hinata? Hinata has seen Pusher's memories. Even in the Otsutsuki clan, time is an absolute taboo, and no one can touch this domain. To be honest, if Pusher didn't come to the world of Naruto, the world where the protagonist lives, he can really grow into the strongest person in the Otsutsuki clan. Hinata's omniscience is indeed invincible. At least for now, no one in the ninja world can understand this move. Even Otsutsuki Kagaya is not enough. Hinata may not be able to kill Otsutsuki Kagaya, but he can seal him in an instant. However, the time ninjutsu that grows up may really be able to restrain Hinata's omniscience. But all of this belongs to me now. Clench his fist. Chapter 566. Next, it's time to go to the Ryochi cave. Hinata's mind moved, and the 6 Tomo Rinnegan on his forehead slowly closed. Seeing the beautiful girl in the water mirror, Hinata nodded with satisfaction. This time, the harvest of ambushing Urashi was so great that Hinata couldn't wait for Momoshi and Kinshir to come to the ninja world immediately and give their heads to her, so that she could harvest 2 more chakra fruits. Although Hinata doesn't know the difference between Kagaya's fruit and Urashi's fruit for the time being, Hinata's only way now is to rely on quantitative change to cause qualitative change. Although planting trees in the Ryochi cave is also a way out, it will take thousands of years to reach Kagaya's level. Hinata can't wait that long. So, next I have to think about it carefully and test whether Hamura is dead or not. If Hamura is dead, then the Tensigen before reincarnation. I will not hesitate to accept it. After deciding the next plan, Hinata no longer hesitated. The black space door slowly opened. Yomi no Miyazaka. For the first time using this space ability, Hinata is quite curious. After entering the space door, Hinata's vision turned black, and in the next moment, Hinata appeared 500 meters above the ground. In the blue sky, a few white clouds floated leisurely. Under his feet is a mountain range that stretches for thousands of miles. The legendary Ryochi Cave, one of the 3 holy lands, is hidden in this mountain range. Huff. Taking a deep breath, even in the gloomy Ryochi Cave, the air here is much fresher than outside. Hinata doesn't need to deliberately perceive it. The vast natural energy filled his body. If someone lives here, even if they don't practice senjutsu, they can probably live for hundreds of years. Closing his eyes slightly, Hinata can feel the comfortable feeling of natural energy passing through his body. His whole body is like soaking in warm water, and the fatigue disappeared without a trace in an instant. Sure enough, this is a treasure land. Tensigen mode activated. Was I discovered? Hinata chuckled. After all, this is the Ryochi Cave, the territory of the White Snake Sage. And the White Snake Sage is an old monster who has lived for thousands of years by relying on senjutsu. It's easy for him to discover Hinata. But Hinata is not in the mood to argue with the White Snake Sage. She stretched out her right hand towards the Ryochi Cave, and several truth-seeking balls began to rotate around her right hand. At the same time, The truth-seeking balls formed a green halo. Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion. A giant silver-white tornado surged out of the green halo. This was no ordinary wind, but the ultimate gravitational force in the Tensigen mode. If he used all his strength in this attack, it would be enough to pierce through the moon in an instant. Of course, Hinata wasn't crazy enough to destroy the ninja world, but she could still clean up the Ryuchi cave. Boom! A to destroy storm. For the snake tribe of the Dragon Earth Cave, the apocalyptic storm had arrived. Ryuchi to collapse to. No. This is not a collapse. Under the attack of the strong wind formed by the huge gravitational force, the mountain where the Ryuchi cave is located instantly turned into dust. Countless snake-type creatures didn't even know what was going on before they were reduced to dust by this move. How dare you? The White Snake Sage did not expect Hinata to be so crazy, wanting to completely wipe out the Ryuchi Cave Snake clan. The huge white snake rose into the air, resisting the vast gravitational force formed by the tornado, and rushed towards Hinata with red eyes. In an instant, the Ryuchi cave was completely destroyed. Thousands of clansmen, now only the White Snake Sage was left. Damn you! Even if the silver-white tornado cut his flesh and blood, the White Snake Sage didn't care at all. His clansmen were all dead. He will never stop until Hinata is dead. Humph! How can a beast occupy such a sacred place? Hinata's mind raced. 10,000 snakes have eaten countless humans. A place as cruel as the Ryuchi cave should have been destroyed long ago. After occupying justice, Hinata's chakra surged out. In the silver-white tornado, a huge green chakra hand grabbed at the White Snake Sage. Roar! The White Snake Sage roared, his eyes bloodshot. At this moment, he did not dodge and looked like he wanted to perish together with Hinata. Of course, in the tornado of the Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion, the White Snake Sage could not dodge. A beast will always be a beast. The moment the green chakra hand touched the White Snake Sage, a huge amount of chakra was absorbed into Hinata's body, but was immediately expelled by Hinata. Hinata was not the kind of person who could not control natural energy. Although chakra was good, if it was labeled as a snake, it would be better to politely decline. When he watched Naruto in his previous life, Hinata naturally felt that the immortal mode was amazing. However, when Hinata came to this world, he realized that the immortal mode cultivated in the 3 Holy Lands was not pure immortal mode at all. The traces of toads, slugs, and snakes were too obvious. With a flick of his hand, the Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion suddenly shot out. Without chakra, the White Snake Sage could no longer resist and was completely crushed by the silver tornado. Phew! Hinata sighed softly and looked at the ruins below him. He nodded in satisfaction. Mountains turned into plains. This is the best place to plant the tree of God. Maybe. Hinata shook his head vigorously. The natural energy here was 100 times more than the outside world. Hinata wanted to let the elites of the Hyuga family cultivate here. However, when he thought of planting the tree of God here, Hinata quickly dismissed the idea. The tree of God was a 1,000-year plan. No one could guarantee that the Hyuga family would not be greedy after seeing the fruits of the tree of God. The only thing I have to worry about now is Mount Myaboku and Shikatsu Forest, and Sage Six Paths. However, despite her words, Hinata didn't really care. With absolute power in hand, even the immortal of Six Paths couldn't do anything. Even if Sage Six Paths' soul had lived for 1,000 years and mastered some powerful ninjutsu, he was no longer the Jinchuriki of the 10 Tails. As for Mount Myaboku and Shikatsu Forest, Hinata was worried that he would not have an excuse to destroy these 2 so-called holy lands. The toads and slugs dared to call themselves immortals and occupy these treasured lands? If they called themselves immortal beasts, they would barely qualify. If it were not for the friendship between Tsunade and Jiraiya, Hinata would have already attacked them. After all, in life, one must be loyal and have relationships with others. Being alone was not suitable for Hinata. Then next, Hinata's eyes flashed with excitement. This is my tree of God. Even if it could not bear the fruit of chakra, as long as it could absorb natural energy and convert it into vitality, it could be used to nourish Hinata's Tensigen. One day, the power of this I will be able to move a planet. Chapter 567. Now that the site has been cleaned up, then it's time to plant trees. Hinata had previously explored Yurashi's memory and knew how the Otsutsuki clan planted the sacred tree. The cultivation method of the seeds of the sacred tree was the top secret of the Otsutsuki clan, and Yurashi couldn't know these secrets. If Hinata wants to plant the sacred tree, there are only two ways at present. One is to transform the corpse of Yurashi in the hands of Orochimaru into a sacred tree, and use the abundant natural energy in the Ryuchi cave to let the sacred tree continue to grow. The second is to transform his own sacred tree. These two methods are probably similar to the way Uchiha bordered soil and Uchiha Madara used to summon the sacred tree. However, there is still a problem in front of Hinata, that is, the sacred tree that has borne fruit can't bear a second fruit. In the Otsutsuki clan, the sacred tree that has borne fruit is no longer of any use. If you want to harvest new fruits, you can only plant a new sacred tree. Even after eating the fruit, Otsutsuki Kagaya can only use the ability of the sacred tree to cultivate white zetsu. The cultivation method of the Tensigen is actually the same as white zetsu, using the sacred tree to absorb natural energy, and then transforming it into vitality, yin-yang release, and other special energy. It's useless to simply plant trees. In addition, the growth environment of the sacred tree also determines the upper limit of the growth of the sacred tree. If you use the words of Hinata's previous life, then the world level determines the upper limit that can be reached by a cultivator. The strength of Otsutsuki Kagaya is the upper limit of the ninja world. Well, Hinata scratched his head. Due to the different growth environment of the sacred tree in Yurashi's body has actually reached the upper limit of growth. It's like an adult can't continue to grow taller, but you can get fat. Hey, Hinata whispered. His hands formed a seal, and the 6 Tomo Rinnegan on his forehead opened again. In the ruins under Hinata's feet, a small sapling broke out of the ground and grew into a towering tree in the blink of an eye. At the very top of the divine tree, there was a flower bud waiting to bloom. Its color was gorgeous, but it gave people a strange feeling. It was like a man-eating flower that wanted to devour people. It was beautiful yet filled with danger. The moment the divine tree took shape, Hinata instinctively sensed an endless amount of natural energy being absorbed into the divine tree as nutrients. However, the divine tree seemed to lack some sort of jerky feeling, as if it didn't know how to continue growing. As expected, once the divine tree had absorbed enough natural energy, it could no longer absorb any more natural energy, due to its inability to bear fruit. But I'm a transmigrator. Hinata wasn't discouraged. Coming from Earth, where there was an explosion of information, the biggest advantage was that his imagination was big enough. He dared to think of anything. As long as it was reasonable, he dared to try it. There are countless novels in Hinata's mind that he can learn from. As long as the training system can be learned from the ninja world, then he can try to transform it into his own training method. For example, the spiritual sea in Hinata's body is actually a seal of natural energy in the form of a Jinchuriki. But when the natural energy solidifies, isn't it a Jindan? When Hinata uses the power of the yin-yang escape to turn the solidified natural energy into a tailed beast, isn't it a Yuanying? And the divine tree in front of Hinata is actually Hinata's main body. Hinata only divided the divine tree into 2 parts. The chakra of the divine tree is in Hinata's body, and the main body of the divine tree is psychic and turned back into the divine tree's appearance. Although the divine tree can no longer bear fruit, it still has the ability to transform natural energy. The fruit of the divine tree is actually a container that carries this kind of energy. Without the container, the divine tree itself can no longer continue to grow. Then, there is no place for the life force that the divine tree transforms to be stored. So what Hinata needs to do next is to find a fruit for the divine tree to continue transforming natural energy. You're the one. As Hinata's main body, there is a certain connection between Hinata and the divine tree. And Hinata has 2 abilities that are most suitable for the divine tree's fruit. The first is Hinata's Tensigen. Because the 6 Tomo Rinnegan came from the divine tree itself, it has grown to the limit of the divine tree's growth, and it can no longer continue to grow. The second is the yin-yang seal in Hinata's body. For a long time, Hinata has attached great importance to the yin-yang seal, But no matter how much natural energy Hinata absorbs and how much life force is integrated into it, the natural energy is always the same. It always feels like something is missing to become a tailed beast. Now that Hinata has the divine tree, maybe he can take a look at the secret. After connecting the divine tree and the yin-yang seal, Hinata immediately felt a huge amount of life force pouring into his body. Along with the life force in Hinata's body, there is also the power of the yin-yang escape. This is wind, thunder, water, fire, earth. So that's how it is. Hinata understood. For a long time, the reason why the yin-yang seal in Hinata's body has been unable to form a nascent soul is not because there is too little natural energy, but because the ratio of life force and natural energy is not right. To form a tailed beast called a nascent soul, not only does it require a huge amount of natural energy, but it also requires a huge amount of life force, the yin-yang escape, and the energy of the 5 elements. And the life force required is enough to suck Hinata dry. The 9-tailed beasts can be said to be the power of the divine tree for thousands of years. Hinata wants to complete it in just a few years. That is a real dream. It works. Perceiving the changes in the yin-yang seal, Hinata is very surprised. The original huge amount of natural energy, under the guidance of the divine tree, has begun to condense towards the center point. When all the energy is integrated into one, it is time to condense the golden core. The so-called golden core is actually the fruit of chakra. When the golden core is condensed, it is time for Hinata to use the power of the yin-yang escape to break the golden core and become a nascent soul. When the nascent soul is formed, Hinata can naturally use the power of the nascent soul to fight, just like Naruto's 9 Tails mode. Of course, if that is all, it is not enough to surprise Hinata. After all, this is a Pooh-style divine tree. Its potential is far inferior to Huey's divine tree. What really surprised Hinata is the golden core itself. Once the golden core is formed, Hinata can absorb the golden core into his own power. This is equivalent to Hinata can use the divine tree's power to continuously cultivate the fruit of chakra in his body, then absorb the fruit and turn it into his own power. Although the whole process may take hundreds of years, or even thousands of years, for Hinata to have a qualitative change. But does Hinata lack time? In the novels that Hinata read in his previous life, which cultivator did not go into seclusion for decades or even centuries, time does not matter at all. What Hinata really needs is to continue the path of growth. Chapter 568. The 3 Holy Lands are the highest cultivation holy lands in the ninja world. For thousands of years, countless elite ninjas have tried to find the location of the 3 Holy Lands in order to go further on the path of ninja. However, the vast majority of ninjas can't even reach the threshold of the 3 Holy Lands. Although there are many contradictions between the 3 Holy Lands, Mount Myaboku and Ryuchi Cave are hostile to each other and don't see eye to eye. However, there is one thing that the 3 Holy Lands have a tacit understanding of each other. That is the attitude towards humans. Humans are the most greedy and ambitious race in the world. Greed and ambition promote the progress of human civilization, but it also gives birth to countless sins. The 3 Holy Lands are used to seeing humans kill each other, and they are also used to seeing humans do whatever it takes to gain power. What's more, the 3 Holy Lands not only have great power that far surpasses humans, but they also have an immortal lifespan of thousands of years. Once the truth of the 3 Holy Lands is known by humans, the 3 Holy Lands will face the threat of the entire ninja world. Because of this, the 3 Holy Lands have always been careful when choosing their successors. Once faced with the threat from humans, the 3 Holy Lands will work together to deal with the threat from humans. After all, in the eyes of humans, creatures like toads, slugs, and snakes are just inferior races of animals. And today, as one of the 3 Holy Lands, the Ryuchi Cave that has been passed down for thousands of years, was destroyed. Mount Myaboku. The sleeping great toad sage opened his eyes, and a sharp light flashed in his half-awake eyes. The ninja world is really an eventful time. After a long time, the great toad sage sighed slowly. He already knew about the Ryuchi Cave and the culprit behind its destruction. However, even if he knows, what can he do? Even the strongest of the 3 Holy Lands, the Ryuchi Cave, couldn't withstand a casual blow from Hinata. Mount Myaboku is just an existence that Hinata can destroy with a casual blow. The Otsutsuki clan. How powerful. The great Toad Sage sighed. Even after so many years, the bloodline inherited from the Otsutsuki clan has become extremely thin, but it still gave birth to outstanding people such as Uchiha Madara, Itachi Uchiha, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hinata. Especially Hinata. The great Toad Immortal had sensed Hinata's power, and communicated with the Immortal of Six Paths. In today's shinobi world, there is no power that can stop Hinata. Even the two sons of the Immortal of Six Realms, Azura and Indra, had been suppressed by Sasuke. Yes, the chakra in Naruto's body had indeed awakened, but the chakra in Sasuke's body that belonged to Indra had been suppressed. At the beginning of Indra's chakra's awakening, it was suppressed by the future Sasuke once. Later, Sasuke absorbed Urushi's chakra, so that Sasuke, who has not yet fully grown, has the power to resist Indra's will. Indra's will, as Sasuke grew stronger and stronger, has now been completely suppressed and fell into a deep sleep. Sasuke may have been affected to a certain extent, but he didn't live as Indra. Ugh! The great Toad Sage sighed softly. The wisdom of 1,000 years allowed him to truly see the situation of the shinobi world. The so-called fate also has to yield to more powerful forces. Or in other words, powerful forces are fate. Close your eyes. Mount Myaboku hasn't yet ushered in the most critical moment, but the shadow has already shrouded the mountain. Survival and destruction are only between a thought. This is the battle of natural energy. Whoever masters natural energy can go further on the path of obtaining power, and even decipher the mystery of immortality. Mount Myaboku is naturally inevitable. How are you going to stop it? Humans, naturally, should be dealt with by humans. This is the law summed up by the great Toad Sage thousands of years ago. In the face of human society, even if the three holy lands are strong, they can only participate as summoned beasts. Because once the three holy lands want to dominate the human race, they will turn into dust under the ambition of human beings. Hagoromo. There was no sound in the hall, and the great Toad Sage seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep again. Ryuchi Cave. Found you. Hinata shouted, and the eye power of the Tensigan and 6 Tomo Rinnegan erupted at the same time. The barrier between the yin and yang was easily seen through by Hinata. 6 Path Sun Nin. Come out. Hinata shouted. The eye power of the Tensigan and 6 Tomo Rinnegan penetrated the yin and yang, and the yin release chakra turned into an invisible hand to grab 6 Path Sun Nin. Sigh. With a slight sigh, 6 Path Sun Nin appeared and sat in the void opposite Hinata. A pair of Rinnegan looked at Hinata with a complicated expression, as if he wanted to say something, but it also seemed like he wanted to say something. You are already standing at the peak of the ninja world. No one in this world can be your opponent. Why do you want to destroy the Ryuchi Cave? The conversation between Hinata and Snake Sun Nin was naturally heard by 6 Path Sun Nin. To be honest, 6 Path Sun Nin didn't like the Ryuchi Cave, but he has been observing the ninja world for thousands of years, and naturally, he understood the bad habits of human beings. If humans know that the 3 holy lands can live forever, there will be an unprecedented war. Sigh. Hinata curled his lips. There is no limit. The top of the ninja world can't satisfy my ambition. Even Otsutsuki Kagaya is no longer the goal I am pursuing. I want to surpass Otsutsuki Kagaya. Let the Hyuga clan become the strongest clan in the universe. Looking at 6 Path Sun Nin. As for you, you didn't come to me just to lecture me, did you? 6 Path Sun Nin. I don't want to come out at all. To be honest, 6 Path Sun Nin was a little guilty when facing Hinata at this moment. In fact, even without the power of the Jubi, 6 Path Sun Nin is still very strong. Like Hinata, he is a powerhouse who has truly mastered Senjutsu. 1,000 years is enough for 6 Path Sun Nin to fully understand the yin-yang release, and he doesn't even need the power of the Jubi. He can still use the truth-seeking ball. 6 Path Sun Nin may not be as good as Hinata in terms of life, but his understanding of chakra is definitely far above Hinata. However, what kind of existence is Hinata now? He has a chakra fruit. Even in the Otsutsuki clan, he is an absolute genius. Let's talk about you. Seeing that Six-Path Sannin didn't speak, Hinata continued. The reason why your chakra can stay in the ninja world for 1,000 years, is it because of the power of natural chakra, or using the bijou? These are Hinata's two guesses. Maybe Six-Path Sannin bound his chakra to the 9 bijou. As long as the bijou doesn't die, Six-Path Sennins will never be extinguished. If this is the case, maybe the two brothers have some kind of backup plan. This is the only chance to test Hamura. Chapter 569. Hagoromo Sannin. After listening to Hinata's words, Hagoromo Sennin's head was full of question marks. What's going on? I've been dead for more than 1,000 years, and now I'm being slandered by the later generations? Although the merits and demerits of the predecessors should be judged by the later generations. But Hagoromo Sannin thought that he had dedicated his life to this world. Even if he didn't make any contributions, he still worked hard. The problem of ninja sect really made Hagoromo Sannin feel conflicted. Hagoromo Sannin originally wanted to use the power of chakra to make people understand each other, and thus eliminate the war between humans. Not only that, the appearance of chakra gave the people of the ninja world the ability to protect themselves. Hagoromo Sennin's only mistake was to underestimate the ambition of humans, especially humans who have great power. However, in fact, the people of Hagoromo Sennin's era were quite simple. The disciples of Hagoromo Sannin had to go through many tests before they were taught the power of chakra by Hagoromo Sannin. The first generation of ninja sect was fine, but the later generations... Hagoromo Sannin opened his mouth, but before he could refute Hinata's words, Hinata continued. Actually, I already know a lot about you. Hinata looked at Hagoromo Sannin, shook his head and sighed. Naive. Hagoromo Sannin. It's said that Kagaya used humans to create white Zetsu, but this Ryuchi cave usually eats humans, right? Hinata's face was full of disdain. Oh, you sealed Kagaya, so it's a great achievement, but I destroyed the Ryuchi cave, so it's a sin? You actually came out to stop me. Speaking of this, Hinata was also a little indignant. Hypocrite. Hagoromo Sannin, I didn't. I just came to see, you forced me to come out. However, before Hagoromo Sannin could explain, Hinata continued to clear his name. Although I destroyed the Ryuchi cave to plant trees, at least I got rid of evil for the people. What about you? Hinata snorted. You and Hamura worked together to seal Kagaya. You obtained the chakra of the Tree of God, and Hamura took the main body of the Tree of God. TSK. What a good plan. After saying so much in one breath, Hinata heaved a sigh of relief. Now that he had the moral high ground, the next step was to represent justice and destroy the Six Paths Immortal. The Immortal of Six Paths had a lot of trump cards, and Hinata didn't want to waste time talking nonsense with the Immortal of Six Paths. What if the Immortal of Six Paths took advantage of the situation? Before the fight, they had to agree first so that they could fight to their heart's content. Hinata blinked and looked at the Immortal of Six Paths. I'm done. Now I'm the righteous one. You, the villain, can argue for yourself. The Immortal of Six Paths felt that the world must have misunderstood him. Who was the one who was slandering him behind his back? Cough, cough. The Immortal of Six Paths coughed and said helplessly, the reason why I extracted my mother's chakra was to stabilize the seal and not give my mother a chance to break free. With my mother's strength at her peak, that level of seal wouldn't be able to control her for long. Hinata nodded while listening, but he didn't say anything in his heart. I've been to the moon. There's a room on the moon called the Space of Reincarnation. There's a Tensigen in there. If I'm not wrong, that eye is Hamura's eye. Do you know the power of that eye? Hinata said. The power of that eye is no weaker than the Jubi. Immortal of Six Paths. How dare you say that you didn't share the loot with Hamura? The Immortal of Six Paths' eyes moved. Oh little girl, you're thinking about that eye again. Hinata's face became serious. I'm not. Don't slander me. Sigh. The Immortal of Six Paths whispered. After meeting you last time, I also thought about a lot of things. It doesn't matter whether the birth of ninja sect is correct or not. The important thing is that it already exists, and it has been passed down for thousands of years. That's undeniable. The world needs to experience pain to grow. And there will be people like you who will change the world. The Immortal of Six Paths' tone was full of vicissitudes, as if he was reluctant to part with the world, but there was also a trace of relief. For thousands of years, I've seen too many people who were blinded by hatred. Because they resented the world and were disappointed in it, they wanted to destroy it. Or they were driven by their inner desires. Looking at Hinata, the Immortal of Six Paths wanted to say a few words of praise, but the words were stuck in his throat, and he couldn't say anything. In all fairness, Hinata was much stronger than anyone in the world. Not in strength, but in temperament. He had the power that no one could stop, but he was able to follow the order and not abuse his power. This was something that Hashirama could do. But Hinata was more ambitious than Hashirama. But thinking of Hinata's words, if it wasn't for Hinata's misunderstanding of the Immortal of Six Paths, he wouldn't have thought of it. Then it must be Hinata's own imagination, imagining the Rakuto Sunnin as a cunning old fox. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't beat Hinata, the Immortal of Six Paths would have taught Hinata a lesson. What are you trying to say? Hinata tilted his head and looked at the Immortal of Six Paths. This wasn't the right script. Logically speaking, shouldn't you be reprimanding me for what I've done, and then enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens? The Immortal of Six Paths shook his head. As for what you said about Hamura, aren't you the descendant of Hamura? Don't you know it yourself? After that, the Immortal of Six Paths figure gradually faded and finally disappeared. Hinata. In the end, he still didn't get anything. But, thinking of what the Immortal of Six Paths said just now, Hinata could understand what the Immortal of Six Paths was thinking. The Immortal of Six Paths gave him the burden of saving the world. But, what about my Buddha's palm? This old man can't be trusted easily, Hinata said to himself. After all, he's an old monster who has lived for thousands of years. Who knows what he's thinking? Maybe he's afraid of my power, and doesn't dare to face me head-on. That's why he said those words. Humph. I won't be fooled easily. Maybe there's a conspiracy behind my back. Hinata clenched his fist and encouraged himself. Immortal of Six Paths, let's see who's better. Outside the barrier between the two realms, the Immortal of Six Paths lost his balance and almost fell from the sky. This old man is about to dig out his heart for you to see. Is this how you think of this old man? Who the hell is it? Who the hell taught a simple girl to be like this? Hyogo-achu. Chapter 570. Wow, I'm finally back. After wandering around in the ninja world and returning to the Hyuga house again, Hinata couldn't help but feel that things have changed. Speaking of which, he only went out for a few hours this time. First, he went to the Cloud Village to watch Pain's invasion. Then he captured Urashi alive and transformed Urashi into chakra fruit. Finally, he destroyed the Ryuchi cave and planted the sacred tree. However, in just a few hours, not only did Hinata's strength improve greatly, but he also found a way to the future. The future can be said to be bright. Of course, more importantly, by searching Urashi's memory, Hinata has a general understanding of the strength of the Otsutsuki clan. Fortunately, it's still early. Hinata had to feel lucky. According to Hinata's previous plan, after Otsutsuki Kagaya's resurrection, he will directly go to the Otsutsuki clan. I'm afraid that he won't even know how he died. The power of this clan is really terrible. After all, it's a family that has been in the universe for many years. Even after several rebellions, their strength can't be underestimated. In the Otsutsuki clan, Urashi is probably equivalent to an elite chunin of Konoha. As for Kagaya's strength, if a comparison must be made, it's almost equivalent to Kakashi's status in Shinobu. She's very strong, but there are many people stronger than her. Seriously. Hinata suddenly remembered what the future Sasuke had said. According to the plot of Another Time and Space, Hinata should have gone to the universe with Kagaya after her resurrection. It's just that a few years later, Hinata from that time and space came back alone. Hinata guessed at that time that his purpose of returning to the ninja world should be for the Jubi in Otsutsuki's body. Although the plot has changed a lot, some things can't be changed. For example, strength setting. Could it be that The me in that space-time really ran into a wall in the universe. Should I stay in the ninja world for thousands of years before going out? To be honest, if Hinata can transform the Otsutsuki style into the chakra fruit, and then use the divine tree to gain power, in that case, both of Hinata's Tensigen can reach the same level as the Tensigen in the Tensigen. In addition, Pusher's time ability would also evolve due to the leap in his life level. But, that guy from the first style, where is he hiding? Hinata frowned. According to the intelligence, Otsutsuki Ichiki and Otsutsuki Kagaya came to the ninja world together, but I don't know why they separated again. Alas! Hinata suddenly sighed. This move was different from Kagaya's. After all, Kagaya had been sealed for 1,000 years. After being resurrected in the original work, Kagaya's mind was still a little dull. This was why Naruto and Sasuke worked together to seal him. But this move wasn't sealed. This style possessed a second ten-tailed beast, and its strength was definitely not below Bright Knight's. Furthermore, Ishire's brain was definitely not as dull as Huiye's. Perhaps he had some battle experience as well. I shouldn't be able to defeat him. Hinata suddenly felt a little unconfident. He and Ichiki were a whole different level of life. This gap is probably the gap between an ordinary Jiraiya and a sage Jiraiya. It's not something that can be made up for by battle experience. Hinata stayed at home and lamented, but the ninja world was surging these days. In just a few days, 2 villages were destroyed by the organizations. Cloud Village, Waterfall Village. The leader of the organizations, Pain, personally attacked the Cloud Village from the front. Not only did he kill the 4th Reikage, but he also captured the Hachibi's Jinchuriki. When Pain retreated, the Cloud Village was in ruins. More than 5,000 ninjas were killed or injured, and most of their high-end combat power was destroyed. And this was the result of Pain's mercy. If Pain attacked Shinobu like in the original story, and used the Super Shinra Tensei over the Cloud Village, it's estimated that few people in the Cloud Village would be able to survive. After the Sand Hideout, the Cloud Village became the second ninja village to be hit by the organizations. After this battle, the Cloud Village's combat power was greatly reduced. It was even worse than the Sand Hideout, and it completely became the weakest village among the 5 great ninja villages. As for the Waterfall Village, Shinobu sent a team headed by Kakashi to the Waterfall Village to negotiate, hoping that the Waterfall Village could transfer the 7-tailed Jinchuriki to Shinobu and the Waterfall Village to jointly protect it. However, after all, it's about the Bijou, the strongest weapon of the Waterfall Village. Although Shinobu was thinking for the whole ninja world, it's not that simple to transfer the 7-tailed Jinchuriki to Shinobu with the White Fang. Just when the negotiations were in a stalemate, the organization's attack began. The Hachibi was personally dealt with by Pain, and the 9 tails was in the hands of Orochimaru. For the organizations, the 7-tailed Jinchuriki was the last bijou. In this battle, the organizations sent almost half of their power. With the strength of the Waterfall Village, even with Kakashi and other jonins, how could they be the opponents of the organizations? Yesterday, when Kakashi and others were brought back by Shinobu Sambu, they were basically dying. If it weren't for Hinata and Tsunade's treatment, even if they were lucky enough to survive this time, it's estimated that they would have completely said goodbye to the ninja profession. Compared to the Cloud Village, the situation of the Waterfall Village was even more tragic. At this point, the organizations only needed the last 9 tails to collect the 9-tailed Jinchuriki. The plan was very smooth, even smoother than expected. As the last Jinchuriki, Naruto became the object that must be protected by the entire shinobi world. In order to unite the forces of the entire shinobi world against the organizations, Tsunade sent a message to several major shinobi villages and the Land of Iron, preparing to hold the 5 Kage conference in Shinobu to protect Naruto. In everyone's view, Naruto was the final goal of the organizations, and the organizations must gather all their forces to invade Shinobu. This war was inevitable. Therefore, the Mist, the Cloud, and the Rock agreed to the alliance. Even if the location of the 5 Kage conference was in Shinobu, they didn't hesitate too much. Although the Sand Hideout also agreed to the alliance, it only had the power of My Love faction. According to the information obtained by the Hyuga clan, The higher-ups of the Sand Hideout Village seemed to have admitted defeat, and they didn't dare to fight against the organizations. Some people even said that since the Sand Hideout Village has no bijou, if the organizations unify the shinobi world, then they will surrender to the organizations. In this way, the strength of the Sand Hideout Village can be preserved, and those villages that try to fight against the organizations will naturally lose a lot of combat power in the war. Perhaps after the war is over, the Sand Hideout Village will become the strongest shinobi village in the shinobi world under the organizations. In short, compared to the unity of Shinobu and the Mist, compared to the Cloud Village that is bent on revenge against the organizations, the Sand Hideout Village is really a mess. On the contrary, the Rock Village. Although the Rock Village also lost their bijou, they didn't lose much of their combat power. That guy Inoki. Chapter 571. Just as the Kage of each village were leading the elite ninjas of each village to Shinobu to participate in the meeting, a conspiracy against the leader of the organizations, Nagato, was also underway. As night fell, Hinata separated a wooden clone and put it in the house to pretend to be himself. Then he jumped out of the window and sneaked toward the back mountain of Shinobu. The 5 Kage conference was about to begin, and Shinobu also recalled a large number of ninjas who were performing tasks outside. The village was full of patrolling umbu, and there was at least a small team of elite umbu on every high point. The organizations only needed the last bijou, and no one was sure when the organizations would attack Shinobu. Although Shinobu had a strong person like Hinata, once Hinata and Pain fought in the Shinobu, it would be a disaster for Shinobu. Shinobu Back Mountain. There was no umbu patrol here. This was a secret training ground for ninjas, and many ninjas in Shinobu would train here on weekdays. The real patrol area was the outermost area of the back mountain of Shinobu. Jumping on a tree, Hinata sat cross-legged and quietly waited for the arrival of Black Zetsu. It's already this time. Hinata suddenly felt a little emotional. It has been almost 16 years since he crossed into the ninja world. From the beginning of the crossing, Hinata was preparing for the 4th Shinobi World War. At the beginning, Hinata simply wanted to follow the original story and let Naruto and Sasuke fight against Kaguya. Anyway, didn't the ninja camp win in the original story? As long as they try to live to the end, it's okay. However, as he became stronger and stronger, Hinata's ideas were constantly changing. Until now, Hinata not only participated in the 4th Shinobi World War, but he also pushed the whole trend. In terms of time, there was at least half a year before the resurrection of Otsutsuki Kaguya in the original story. Strength determines the mentality, and the change of mentality is reflected in the behavior. You've come. Following Hinata's words, Ju, who was half black and half white, slowly emerged from the ground. Looking up at Hinata, who was sitting cross-legged on the tree, Black Ju couldn't help but sigh. For a long time, whether it was Uchiha Madara or Uchiha bordered soil, they were just chess pieces that Black Zetsu could manipulate at will. Hinata was the only one who could truly be considered Black Zu's partner. Both of them have the same purpose, to let Otsutsuki Kaguya break out of the seal. Not only that, but in terms of personal standpoint and philosophy, Hinata and Otsutsuki Kaguya also had the possibility of cooperation. I heard. Black Zetsu asked. Is that guy from the Otsutsuki clan? Yes. Hinata nodded and admitted. Don't worry, I've already killed that guy. Speaking of which, Black Zetsu, how did you know? Although Pusher came to the ninja world, he didn't make too much noise. Except for a few people, no one should know about Pusher. And Black Zetsu was one of these few people. This is for you. Black Zetsu threw a scroll to Hinata. Hinata took a look and saw the word tail written on the scroll. Black Zetsu explained. This is chakra from Ichibi to Hachibi. Speaking of this, Black Zetsu suddenly paused. According to our previous cooperation, you help me resurrect my mother, and I help you talk about the future. But if my mother doesn't agree, I can't change her will. Black Zetsu's words were sincere. For 1,000 years, Black Zetsu lived alone in the dark. Although he used the ninja world as a chessboard, he didn't have many friends. Many secrets must be buried in the bottom of his heart, and can't be told to outsiders. In the original work, Black Zetsu was obviously a low-key and steady character, but after the resurrection of Otsutsuki Kagaya, his character completely collapsed and became a talkative character. He wanted to explain everything, and it was not without holding back for too long. As for Hinata, Black Zetsu, as an old fox who has lived for thousands of years, of course, he can see that Hinata sincerely wants to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya, and also sincerely wants to join forces with Otsutsuki Kagaya to fight against the Otsutsuki clan in the universe. As a comrade in arms, as a collaborator who can confide some secrets, even if the future is not determined, Black Zetsu doesn't want to deceive Hinata at this time. Hinata's face didn't change, and he put the scroll in the ninja bag. Checking the authenticity of the scroll must be done at home, but Hinata always felt that Black Zetsu must have done something in it. This person can't be trusted. After 3 days, deal with Nagato. Black Zetsu continued. Orochimaru is ready. After 3 days, summon Namikaze Minato in the Rain Country, and then forcibly strip the 9 tails. Hinata nodded and said, well, after that I will control Nagato and launch the Rinna Tensei Jutsu. By the way, Hinata frowned and said, bordered soil. Are you sure he won't do anything? Black Zetsu said faintly, no. How can Uchiha Madara trust bordered soil? Madara has a backup plan. If bordered soil makes a move, I will kill him immediately. In Madara's view, Black Zetsu is his will, and it is reasonable to give the method of controlling bordered soil to Black Zetsu. And bordered soil also wants to complete the infinite Tsukuyomi. He will not stop us. Having said that, Black Zetsu had another worry. What I am worried about is whether bordered soil has noticed our real purpose. Hinata heard this and said, has bordered soil investigated this matter? White Zetsu said, bordered soil has escaped my surveillance several times, and his whereabouts are unknown. Black Zetsu then said, bordered soil may have noticed something. Hinata blinked and thought about the possibility of this situation repeatedly. On the surface, everything Hinata and Black Zetsu did was to resurrect Uchiha Madara and complete the infinite Tsukuyomi. And according to the lies made up by Hinata and Black Zetsu, if Hinata's eyes cooperate with Rinnegan, he can reverse reality and dreams, turning the false infinite Tsukuyomi world into a real reality, just like Izanagi. So, where did Obito see the flaw in it? Black Zetsu, what do you think? Since he couldn't figure it out, Hinata asked directly, bordered soil should not know about Kagaya. What can he perceive? Black Zetsu looked at Hinata and said in a deep voice, it's because we don't know what bordered soil knows that this matter is tricky. Hinata nodded, and then said indifferently, but you don't have to worry too much. We have absolute strength. Even if Uchiha Madara becomes the Jinchuriki of the Jubi, he is definitely not my opponent. The biggest variable is nothing more than bordered soil reminding Uchiha Madara to be careful of us. Hinata and Black Zetsu looked at each other. If bordered soil really discovered the secret of Hinata and Black Zetsu, then bordered soil is most likely to join forces with Uchiha Madara. Then they will benefit. It shouldn't be, right? Chapter 572. Hinata thought about it carefully. Although bordered soil has been doing things secretly, he seems to be testing his ability. And for the collection of bijou, bordered soil has been doing very well. During the Sanbai incident, Hinata suspected that bordered soil wanted to use Nagato to find out the truth about the bijou from some details. However, it turned out that Nagato still knew nothing about it. Hinata sometimes thought that bordered soil is really pitiful. Without power, bordered soil can't do anything except accept his fate. But if you think about it from another perspective, bordered soil has been working for the Eye of the Moon project for more than 10 years. Would he be willing to give up the opportunity to launch the infinite Tsukuyomi to Uchiha Madara? Obviously, bordered soil will never be willing. And today's situation is that Hinata, Black Zetsu, and Orochimaru have joined forces to occupy the absolute power advantage. No one can resist Hinata's power. In this case, bordered soil has no chance to turn the tables. Unless bordered soil is willing to let Nagato become the Jubi's Jinchuriki. Hinata looked at Black Zetsu and asked, does bordered soil have any other intelligence system? Black Zetsu didn't answer immediately. Over the years, Bordered Soil has been walking in the shinobi world as Uchiha Madara, and more or less, he has subdued some ninjas. For example, dried persimmon mackerel in the organizations. Bordered Soil has controlled the mist for several years. Who knows how many secret methods Bordered Soil has left in the mist? Mother's matter is top secret. Bordered Soil can't know. Black Setsu's tone was very sure. After lurking in the shinobi world for so many years, Black Setsu has already erased all traces of Otsutsuki Kagaya. I'll keep an eye on the Bordered Soil, Black Setsu said solemnly. 3 days later, the Jubi will be resurrected, and Mother will return to the ninja world. All conspiracies will end here. Hinata nodded slightly. At this point, Hinata was actually not too worried. So what if there was a conspiracy? In the face of absolute power, all schemes and tricks were useless. It was just a little troublesome. If Hinata and Kagaya joined forces, even if it was Naruto and Sasuke, who were at the peak of the original work, they would still be able to suppress them with a flip of their hand. I got it. Absolute. It's time for you to go. Black Setsu nodded and sank into the ground. Hinata stood up and patted the dust off his butt, preparing to sneak back to Shinobu. However, just as he took a step forward, Hinata slapped his forehead. I'm so stupid. Not to mention the omniscient and omnipotent teleportation ability. Even Yomiuri can make Hinata return to the Hyuga mansion in an instant. A gap slowly opened on his forehead, and the 6th Tomo Rinnegan opened. Hinata jumped into the space door and appeared in his room. Thank you for your hard work. After greeting the wood clone, Hinata released the wood clone and immediately fell on the bed. Well, after a while, Hinata turned over, looked at the ceiling blankly, and sighed helplessly. I'm really busy. Tensigen Awakening. After connecting to the satellite, Hinata investigated the entire ninja world. The Kage of several major ninja villages have left their respective villages and are rushing towards Shinobu. There are a lot of people. Even Sand Hideout and Cloud Village, which were hit hard by the organizations, brought more than 100 elite ninjas. Naruto is now the only Jinchuriki still in the hands of the 5 major ninja villages. In any case, the probability of the organizations attacking Shinobu is very high. Even with the deterrence of Hinata, Tsunade doesn't think that the organizations will give up the 9 tails. And judging from several battles, Pain's strength is comparable to Hinata's, and the organizations have strong people like Orochimaru. So there is no reason for them to be afraid of Shinobu's strength. In this situation, Tsunade doesn't dare to leave Shinobu. So it's reasonable that the 5 Kage tournament is held in Shinobu. As for the other side, Orochimaru and Sasuke went to the Rain Country in 2 separate ways. Orochimaru's task is to summon Minato and Uchiha Madara, while Sasuke's task is to seize control of the Geto Mazo with the power of Rinnegan and forcibly take part of the Jubi's chakra. The process of Rinnegan opening was very smooth. After the fusion of Hashirama's cells, Sasuke opened the 6th Tomo Rinnegan in his left eye and the ordinary Rinnegan in his right eye in less than a day. This kind of strength, even compared with the peak Sasuke in the original work, I'm afraid it's a lot stronger. As for the power of the 6 Paths Sun Nin, is there a Ura-style chakra? Orochimaru has also been replaced with the body cloned with Ura-style cells, and now it's a configuration of 1 Rinnegan and 1 Byakugan. Compared with the Sun Nin in the original work, it's several times stronger. With this kind of power, not to mention Minato, even facing the Jubi's Jinchuriki, Uchiha Madara, I'm afraid he'll have the power to fight. And in the Rain Country, Hinata controlled the satellite to move to the sky above the Rain Country. Nagato seems to be very confident. In the Rain Village, except for Nagato and Konan, there are no other ninjas from the organizations. After all, Orochimaru has never exposed his trump card, and the Geto Mazo has stored 8 Bija's chakra. In this case, Nagato naturally won't put Orochimaru in his eyes. This chakra is. In the black and white world, somewhere in the Rain Country, Hinata was very familiar with chakra reaction. Adjusting the angle. Itachi Uchiha? Dressed in civilian clothes, Itachi Uchiha stood by the window of the town hotel, looking at the Rain Village. 5 Kage Summit. Itachi Uchiha's eyes were dignified, and he secretly analyzed in his heart. This time, the the 5 major countries may be able to abandon the past and join forces against the Akatsuki. But Orochimaru can summon Namikaze Minato. This is a top secret of the organizations, and Itachi Uchiha naturally doesn't know about it. It's just that Itachi Uchiha has been lurking in the organizations for many years, and is very sensitive to some changes in the organization. For example, the attitude toward Naruto. Itachi Uchiha has a faint feeling that the organizations doesn't seem to have much interest in Naruto. Except for sending Itachi and Ghost Mackerel to infiltrate Shinobu 3 years ago, there was no other action. This is obviously unreasonable. Even if they are afraid of Hinata's power, the organizations can't give up the Nine Tails in any case. Because of this, when the whole ninja world is paying attention to Shinobu, only Itachi Uchiha has insight into the organization's abnormality. Why is it? This feeling of palpitations. In the information collected by Itachi Uchiha, the organizations had at least 2 opportunities to capture Naruto alive, but in the end, they gave up. And Itachi Uchiha's mind flashed the man who called himself Uchiha Madara. At this moment, what are you thinking about? Since you have the name Uchiha Madara, are you willing to let pain control the bijou? Chapter 573. Since Bordered Soil's ability was exposed, many people in the shinobi world have been speculating about his identity. As early as 10 years ago, Itachi Uchiha had seen Bordered Soil on the night of the Uchiha clan's destruction. However, at that time Bordered Soil called himself Uchiha Madara, and also showed his Manjikyu Sharingan. So Itachi Uchiha was convinced. Until the Ichibi incident, Bordered Soil personally intercepted Hinata's party. Since then, Itachi Uchiha has questioned the identity of Bordered Soil. The factor of strength can be explained, but what about the character? In the records of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Madara is the strongest person in the shinobi world. For a ninja who once stood at the peak of the shinobi world, even if his strength is damaged, he will never be sneaky and lose the demeanor of a strong person. Only Nine Tails is missing. Itachi Uchiha frowned. After lurking in the organizations for so many years, Itachi Uchiha has an intuition that the organizations may have other means to get Nine Tails chakra. Opening the window, Itachi Uchiha quietly watched the people coming and going on the streets of the town, and inexplicably looked up at the sky. But there is nothing there. Hinata? Are you there? In the Hyuga residence, Hinata's whole body shivered and pulled the quilt over her head. What to do? Was I caught peeping on my little brother? Will it affect my image as a lady? Itachi Uchiha was silent for a moment, then closed the window and sat on the chair with closed eyes. Itachi Uchiha knows that Hinata has the ability to remotely monitor, contact others, and even teleport to any location in the shinobi world without using coordinates. If Hinata was monitoring the Rain country at this moment, Itachi Uchiha didn't think that he could hide from Hinata's perception. Although Itachi Uchiha doesn't know what Hinata's ability is for the time being, but judging from his past experiences, Hinata can almost monitor the entire ninja world. He didn't answer. Does he not want to answer? Or is he not monitoring the Rain country? Itachi Uchiha analyzed inwardly. If I'm not wrong, there are only 2 possibilities for Akatsuki's next move. Attack Shinobu and capture Naruto. Or perhaps, we can use the spare Nine Tails chakra to complete the plan, and then capture Naruto to gather all the chakra. With Hinata's intelligence ability, it's impossible for her not to notice that Amage Cure is the organization's base. What's more, Hinata knows more. Thinking of his previous judgment, the Hyuga clan and Orochimaru seem to be cooperating. Itachi Uchiha's heart sank slightly. According to Pain, if we gather the chakra of 9-tailed beasts, we can create the strongest weapon of war. But this information was obtained from the guy who called himself Uchiha Madara. Hyuga residence. Seeing Itachi Uchiha sitting in the room with his eyes closed, Hinata was secretly relieved. What? It turned out that he wanted to trick me. But Brother Itachi's sixth sense is quite sensitive. He actually noticed that I was observing him. And Itachi is in the Rain country. But fortunately, although Itachi Uchiha is not in Hinata's plan, not to mention that Itachi Uchiha has lost his Sharingan at this moment, Even if Itachi Uchiha is in his peak state, he can't reverse the situation now. Aha. Hinata coughed lightly, then solemnly took out a scroll from the ninja bag. He opened the scroll. There was a sealing technique drawn on the scroll. There were 8 black squares on the 1-meter-long scroll, with the numbers 1 to 8 written on them. Byakugan. Byakugan-sai power easily saw the seal on the scroll. Hinata checked carefully. The seal didn't matter. The main thing was the chakra from Ichibi to Hachibi. Ordinary chakra and chakra are different. The former is a consumable, while the latter is a renewable energy. Black Zetsu didn't do anything? Impossible. This is definitely not the Black Zetsu I know. Hinata checked it 3 times and didn't notice the slightest abnormality. What is sealed on the scroll is the chakra from Ichibi to Hachibi. Huh. Hinata thought about it carefully. In fact, this is normal. After all, Otsutsuki Kagaya hasn't been resurrected yet. At this critical moment, Black Zetsu would never dare to offend Hinata. Not to mention Hinata's strength. The information Hinata has is enough to make Black Zetsu dare to play any tricks. Well, Black Zetsu is a good boy. It's just that he's a little ugly. Hinata gently breathed and calmed down the excitement in his heart. Now that he has obtained the chakra source, the next step is to integrate it into his body. Once the 9-tailed beast's chakra source are integrated into one, it is enough for Hinata to use Truth-Seeking Ball in normal state. In addition, Hinata can also use blood limits such as lava release, magnet release, and ice release. As long as Hinata is willing to put in some effort, he can even use dust release perfectly. It's just that it's not very useful. Of course, there is a more important reason why Hinata can't forget the 9-tailed beast chakra. That was the ability to grow. The level of the Urashiki God Tree is still too low. Not to mention compared with the Jubi, even compared with the 9 tails, the Urashiki chakra is only a little stronger. But Kagaya's God Tree is different. With the 9-tailed beast chakra source, Hinata is sure to transform his own chakra into the Jubi's chakra. Even if the quantity is not as good as Otsutsuki Kagaya. As long as the quality is the same as Otsutsuki Kagaya, the energy level of the two is the same. In Hinata's division, the body of the God Tree is the life level, and the chakra of the God Tree is the energy level. Low-level life can master high-level energy. For example, Sage Mode. And Senju Hashirama's Sage Mode can be seen as the evolution of life level. Of course, Hashirama's level should be evolving. And when chakra's quality is the same, the effect of combat experience and technique will be reflected. For example, the fresh graduates Naruto and Kakashi. Once Hinata completes the leap in energy level, perhaps the gap between Hinata and Otsutsuki Kagaya will be the same as the adult Kakashi and the fresh graduate Naruto. This gap is huge. Thinking of this, Hinata can't wait. His hands formed a seal. Release. Bang 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 bang. 8 clouds of smoke exploded on the scroll, and the 8-tailed beast chakra struggled to get out of the seal. But they were bound by the power of the seal. Through chakra, Hinata can feel a kind of emotion called despair slowly growing. The tailed beasts have lived alone for thousands of years, and they have long had an independent self and thought. The resurrection of the Jubi means the death of the 9-tailed beasts. Hinata changed a few seals, and the 8 chakra fiercely rose into the air, and then pulled by some kind of force into Hinata's body and disappeared. Chapter 574. There doesn't seem to be anything strange. Hinata scratched his head with a strange expression on his face. After all, it was the tailed beast's chakra that had entered his body. Hinata originally thought that he would feel the pain of his body being torn apart, or the satisfaction of his body expanding and filling up his emptiness. Then, it might be very cool and exciting, but in the end, what a disappointment. However, thinking back to the original work, Naruto didn't seem to have any abnormal reaction after collecting all 9 chakra. However, Hinata's situation was still somewhat different from Naruto in the original work. The chakra that the tailed beasts gave to Naruto should have been stored in the sealed space of the 9 tails by Naruto. The chakra absorbed by Hinata's body had fused with Hinata's chakra. If it weren't for the fact that Hinata's life force had reached an extremely high level, Hinata's body would have exploded. In Naruto's original work, When the higher-ups of Cloud Hidden Village learned that Gold Horn and Silver Horn had obtained the Nine-Tails chakra by eating the Nine-Tails meat, they tried to use the same method to cultivate a group of ninjas who could use the Eight-Tails chakra. In the end, without exception, all of them died. In fact, Hinata's current situation was similar to Gold Horn and Silver Horn. He was not a human pillar of strength, but had fused the chakra of the tailed beasts into his body. It's not over yet. Next is, Hinata activated his Byakugan and looked inside himself. He drew out the Nine-Tails chakra source hidden in his body, and controlled it to merge with the other 8 chakra sources. Roar, 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 roar. Although he couldn't hear anything through chakra's senses, Hinata could clearly hear the roars of the 9-tailed beasts. The roars were filled with the fear of fate. Merge. Hinata let out a low roar, and the chakra origin that was controlling the 9-tailed beasts merged into one. Boom. Hinata's body trembled. The tailed beast chakra, which was originally a high-tier energy, had undergone a qualitative change after fusing with it. Wow. Hinata's expression changed. Although this chakra wasn't huge, Hinata had to use all of his strength to barely control this chakra from bursting Hinata's body. Tensegan Awakening. 6 Tomo Reincarnation I Awakening. When the double pupil technique was activated, the Ten-Tails chakra in Hinata's body gradually calmed down. It's someone else's chakra after all. Hinata's expression was a little ugly. The Ten-Tails chakra's level is very high. If the level of Urishi's chakra is about the same as Senjutsu chakra, then the Ten-Tails chakra is definitely not higher than Senjutsu chakra. In the original setting of Naruto, ordinary chakra can damage chakra, but it's ineffective against Ten-Tails Jinchuriki. But ordinary chakra can cause damage to Urishi. This proves that chakra of one level can cause damage to each other, but if there is a difference of 2 levels, the lower level chakra can't cause damage to the higher level chakra. In other words, once Hinata completes the transformation of the Ten-Tails chakra, ordinary ninjas are almost equivalent to ants in front of Hinata, because their ninjutsu is ineffective against Hinata. It's just, Hinata's face showed a hint of difficulty. The Ten-Tails chakra is difficult to control. With Hinata's current life level, the difficulty of controlling the Ten-Tails chakra is equivalent to an ordinary ninja controlling Senjutsu chakra. After all, Hinata is not a Jinchuriki, but he is integrated with the Ten-Tails chakra. Unless Hinata uses his eye power to suppress it at all times, the Ten-Tails chakra will rebel immediately. It's so difficult. Hinata was a little crazy. Now there are 2 paths in front of Hinata. The first is to transform his chakra into the Ten-Tails chakra. In this way, except for Senjutsu and Taijutsu, Hinata is not afraid of any attack. In the current ninja world, the only Taijutsu that can cause damage to Hinata is a Kai who opened the 8 gates. As for other people, even Tsunade can't do it. However, Hinata has 2 life-saving skills, Omniscient and Yumiri. Even if one day Hinata and Shinobu turn against each other, and have to face a Kai who opened the 8 gates, Hinata can strategically retreat and wait for a Kai to play himself to death. It's just that after transforming the Ten-Tails chakra, Hinata must use his eye power to suppress it at all times. Unless Hinata can completely control the Ten-Tails chakra like when he learned Sage Mode. The second method is much simpler. It is to absorb the Ten-Tails chakra's source with his own chakra to make himself evolve slightly. As for the effect, if a comparison must be made, the first method is probably equivalent to level plus 10, and the second method is equivalent to level plus 1. If he wants to upgrade by 10 levels and complete the qualitative change, he needs to absorb more Ten-Tails chakra, and even the Ten-Tails vitality. The former directly becomes stronger, but it is difficult to control. The latter slowly becomes stronger, but there are no side effects. Hinata only thought for a moment and made a decision. Choose the second method. Uncontrollable energy is too dangerous, especially in today's ninja world. Who knows how many strong people are watching in the dark? Hagoromo Sannin, Otsutsuki Hamura, Otsutsuki Kagaya who is about to be resurrected, Otsutsuki Ichiki who hasn't appeared yet, and the Otsutsuki clan in the depths of the universe. Because according to the normal procedure, Urashi will report some information to the Otsutsuki clan on a regular basis. Once Urashi doesn't get in touch with the clan, Maybe the Otsutsuki clan will send stronger clansmen to the ninja world. Of course, this is a crisis, but it is also an opportunity for Hinata. In contrast, the battle between the 5 major ninja villages and the organizations is really a bit of a joke. Children playing house? Facing so many strong people hiding in the dark. Once Hinata's chakra becomes uncontrollable, the danger is too great. Hinata doesn't believe that Otsutsuki Ichiki didn't notice him. And Hinata has always had an intuition that the whole world is coveting his body. The so-called training is to plunder all energy and integrate it into one's body to make one's life level evolve. Hinata's Tensigen can be said to be the only one in the universe today, and it also awakened the bug-like ability of omniscience and omnipotence. If it weren't for the fact that they can't beat Hinata, the people who want to rob Hinata's eyes are definitely more than the people who want to marry Hinata and Naruto. Ahem. Now that he has made a decision, Hinata didn't hesitate. The power of the Tensigen ran, and the Jubi chakra source in Hinata's body was slowly absorbed, transformed into a high-level life force, and gradually merged with Hinata's body. Hinata groaned and his whole body shivered. This kind of life-level evolution is really cool. His whole body felt warm, and the whole person seemed to have been sublimated in an instant. The fusion of soul and flesh, and the whole person seemed to have been reborn at this moment. Chapter 575. The warm sun shone through the window on Hinata's pink face. Hinata narrowed his eyes, stretched his body, and reluctantly got up from the bed. It's another day full of vitality. It's just that he didn't have much energy. Putting on his slippers, Hinata squinted his eyes and barely found the direction of the bathroom through the gap of his eyelids. He sighed and walked in to brush his teeth and wash his face. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. Today is not only the day of the 5 Kages tournament, but also the day of the organizations sealing the last bijou. For Hinata, Black Zetsu, Bordered Soil, Orochimaru and Sasuke, who know the truth, today is the day of Uchiha Madara's resurrection and the completion of the Eye of the Moon plan. Facing such an important moment, Hinata was excited for half the night before he fell asleep. He even set the alarm clock at 6 o'clock in the morning, swearing that he will never delay the important event. And now, it's 9:30 in the morning. The alarm clock rings every 10 minutes, so he can't sleep well at all. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. She put the toothbrush in her mouth and rubbed it back and forth, then looked at herself in the mirror blankly. Didn't he squeeze toothpaste? I should have set the alarm clock a few hours earlier. If he set the alarm clock 6 hours earlier, then it should be 3:30 in the morning. And Hinata can continue to sleep for 2.5 hours. Rain Country, a huge cave far away from the Rain Village. The Ghetto Mazo has already been summoned, and is waiting to seal the last bijou. In the cave, Pain, Konan, Bordered Soil, Black Zetsu, and Orochimaru stood quietly and seemed to be talking about something. If the Akatsuki's plan succeeds, in addition to giving me enough test subjects every year, I will also have to deal with Shinobu Ninja. Orochimaru's tone was cold, and had an unquestionable momentum. Pain thought for a moment, and was about to nod in agreement. After all, Orochimaru was also a powerhouse, and he was also the key to sealing the 9 tails. Pain didn't want to offend Orochimaru at this time. As for agreeing to Orochimaru's request, that would depend on whether or not Orochimaru could withstand the power of 9-tailed beasts. Yo! White Zetsu glanced at Orochimaru, and said in a teasing tone, "It seems that when the 3 generations Naruto chose Namikaze Minato, it made you very unhappy, Orochimaru?" Orochimaru coldly snorted. His eyes filled with murderous intent as he glanced at Zetsu. "Enough," Black Zetsu said coldly. "Orochimaru, don't go too far." Orochimaru, "Huh? Half an hour past Pain. Why do I feel like you guys are stalling for time?" Yes. Orochimaru and Black Zetsu were already in a panic at this moment. If they had known, they would have sealed the 9 tails at night, because Hinata was the most energetic at night. They said that they would meet in the Rain Country at 7 o'clock in the morning, but Black Zetsu and Orochimaru waited until 8:30, but they didn't even see Hinata's shadow. In such a situation, Orochimaru, who knew Hinata's daily routine, knew that Hinata must have overslept. As for Hinata, who overslept, she probably wouldn't wake up until noon. Other people's 3 meals a day are morning, noon, and night, but Hinata's 3 meals a day are lunch, dinner, and supper. This means that if Black Zetsu and Orochimaru want to proceed smoothly, they must delay until noon. And noon is about 2 hours away from now. Orochimaru and Black Zetsu racked their brains for the distribution of benefits after the unification of the shinobi world. And they have been arguing for half an hour. Now, even a genius like Orochimaru doesn't know how to continue arguing with Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu was already stunned. Once the Nine Tails is sealed by the Geto Mazo, even if the Jubi is not resurrected, the destructive power of the Geto Mazo alone is enough for Nagato to unify the shinobi world. And once Nagato is given time to study the Geto Mazo that sealed the Nine Tails, no one can guarantee whether Nagato will discover the truth or not. In case Nagato becomes the Jubi's Jinchuriki, Black Zetsu will have to wait for the next pair of Rinnegan to appear. And the owner of the next pair of Rinnegan may not be as easy to fool as Uchiha Madara. The key is that the Uchiha clan is already extinct. Pain looked around coldly and said with a dissatisfied tone, "Let's start." Orochimaru. Pain's pair of lavender Rinnegan stared at Orochimaru, and he didn't allow Orochimaru to refuse. Humph. Orochimaru snorted and quickly printed with both hands. Ninja art Edo Tensei. On the ground, a wooden coffin slowly broke out of the ground, and on the lid of the coffin, there was a piece of paper with the word for written on it. Boom. As the coffin lid fell to the ground, everyone looked at the inside of the coffin at the same time. Shinobu's ninja vest, white and red Haori, blonde hair, young and handsome face, the fourth Naruto. Minato. Although I've seen it many times, I always feel a little uncomfortable. Orochimaru smirked, and a complicated look flashed in the depths of his eyes. Although Orochimaru doesn't care about the so-called Naruto position, but not caring about Naruto doesn't mean that he doesn't care about Sarutobi's recognition. When Sarutobi chose Minato as the fourth, it meant that he didn't approve of Orochimaru. 15 years ago, under the mask, bordered soil said indifferently, the fourth divided the Nine Tails into 2. I didn't expect that today it would become the key to the success of the Akatsuki. Sensei, you didn't think that this day would come, did you? The Uzumaki Naruto you had high hopes for hasn't grown up yet. Now, Sensei, you're always one step behind. The Canopy Bridge is like this. Rin is like this. Bordered Soil's heart was complicated, but he soon calmed down. It doesn't matter now. This world is about to end, and a new world will be born. That is, everyone's life will be like a dream. A real world. Bordered Soil didn't care that he was seriously injured in the Battle of the Canopy Bridge, nor did he care that he gave the Sharingan to Kakashi. What he cared about was that Kakashi didn't abide by their agreement, and didn't protect Rin. He cared more that he didn't arrive in time, and didn't save Rin at the most critical moment. If I could do it all over again, I would choose Lee Bai. Bah. Bordered Soil's thoughts were in a mess, fantasizing about when he would return to. Is this Namikaze Minato? Pain turned his gaze and looked at Orochimaru coldly. I didn't sense the Nine Tails aura. Orochimaru chuckled and explained. The current fourth generation hasn't been fully resurrected yet. The soul of the fourth generation sealed the Nine Tails, and the body in front of you is just a sacrifice. The next step is to summon the soul of the fourth generation from the Pure Land to the real world. When his words fell, Orochimaru's hands printed again. Namikaze Minato slowly opened his eyes. Chapter 576. His consciousness returned to his body, making Namikaze Minato stunned. This is the real world. I was resurrected? No. This body didn't feel alive, no heartbeat, no temperature, no breath, and no sense of touch. Edo Tensei. As the fourth Naruto of Shinobu, Namikaze Minato naturally read the Scroll of Seals and knew about this forbidden technique. The light in the cave was dim, and Namikaze Minato curiously looked at this cave. A huge statue with a very strong chakra reaction, not even under the cubies. No, this is definitely not a statue, but a life form with infinite chakra. Under the statue, 5 guys in strange clothes. Are they looking at me? Namikaze Minato was a bit stunned. They should be the ones who resurrected me. Having said that, Namikaze Minato was already vigilant. These guys used Edo Tensei to resurrect him. They didn't want to do good deeds or worship him, right? The first guy, strange circle eyes? The second, blue-haired beauty? Cough. The third guy? Huh. Why is this guy half black and half white? Is he sick? The fourth one is an old acquaintance. Orochimaru. It's not the first time that Namikaze Minato was resurrected by Orochimaru, but it's the first time that he was so conscious. This feeling. If it wasn't for the fact that his body had no sense of touch, it's as if he was really resurrected. As for the fifth one, a masked man. It's you. Namikaze Minato looked at the masked man with a dignified expression. Even if you changed your mask, I still recognized you at first glance. The culprit who stripped Kushina of 9 tails, caused the death of Kushina and himself, and made Naruto lose his parents. At the same time, he was also the one who controlled 9 tails to invade Shinobu. Namikaze Minato, we meet again. Bordered Soil's tone was low, and the 3 Tomo Sharingan under the mask looked at Namikaze Minato without any emotion. Namikaze Minato's face changed. Even if he was a bit slow, in this situation, coupled with the huge statue containing chakra, Minato almost instantly judged the situation in front of him. Were they doing this for 9 tails? He frowned slightly. If it was for 9 tails, then the fact that they spent so much effort to resurrect him might prove that Naruto was still safe for the time being. He raised his head and looked at the huge statue in the cave. Such a huge chakra. Was this the container that sealed the tailed beast? As expected of the 4th generation. Your insight is really sharp. Orochimaru sighed, and his hands formed a strange seal, strengthening his control over Minato. Pain turned to look at Orochimaru. Orochimaru cursed in his heart, but he had no choice but to pay the price for his bragging. Originally, because of Nagato's insufficient control over Rinnegan and Geto-Mazo, even if all the members of the organizations were here, it would still take 3 days to seal the tailed beast. But when Orochimaru joined the organizations for the second time, because of the great things he had done, Orochimaru could be described as high-spirited at that time, and he bragged on the spot. I can control Namikaze Minato to voluntarily sacrifice 9 tails. Originally, this was nothing. After all, it only proved his control over Edo Tensei, and made the organization more afraid of him. But now he couldn't even delay time. Namikaze Minato slowly walked out of the coffin. Although his face was expressionless, his struggling eyes revealed his inner turmoil. Orochimaru's strong control over Edo Tensei made Namikaze Minato unable to control his body. And this was the case when Orochimaru didn't expose his Rinnegan. If Orochimaru used all his cards, I'm afraid that Uchiha Madara and Hashirama wouldn't be able to break free from Orochimaru's control. What do you want to do? Namikaze Minato asked. Of course, to rule the world. Pain said matter-of-factly. The 9 tails in your body can bring peace to this chaotic world. After all, we are under the same teacher. You should be able to understand Jiraiya Sensei's desire for peace. In the end, they were under the same teacher, so Nagato slightly recognized Namikaze Minato. And he said that as a villain, he was willing to speak for Namikaze Minato. Jiraiya? Sensei. Namikaze Minato was stunned. And then he thought of something. So Minato and Nagato, who were under Jiraiya's tutelage, launched a fierce debate about world peace. Orochimaru and Black Zetsu looked at each other silently. Very good. You two continue to quarrel like this. From top to bottom, in the black and white world, only Sasuke was quietly waiting at the agreed place. Damn Orochimaru and Black Zetsu, how dare they stand me up? Hinata was furious. No wonder both of them are single dogs. Don't they know that when dating a girl, being late is a privilege of the girl? Retracting his gaze, Hinata sat in front of the dressing table and silently put on makeup. This was something Hinata learned from Ino. After all, today was the day he officially met with Kagaya Otsutsuki, and Hinata said that he wanted to be the best version of himself. Anyway, he was already late, so it was no big deal to let Sasuke wait a little longer. At 10 o'clock sharp, Hinata activated Yomiuri Yorizaka and silently appeared beside Sasuke. Sasuke quickly got up and pulled out his sword. After seeing that it was Hinata, Sasuke silently put away his sword, but his eyes were staring at Hinata's forehead. 6th Tomo Rinnegan. Originally, he thought that after opening the Mono-Eye Ordinary Rinnegan and the Mono-Eye 6th Tomo Rinnegan, he was qualified to fight with Hinata. But he didn't expect that he could also open a Rinnegan on the forehead? Aha! Hinata floated in front of Sasuke, cleared his throat, and asked with his hands behind his back, "Sasuke, do you see any changes in me today?" Sasuke's Sharingan almost turned white when he heard this. "Do you think I'm a shrimp?" "I saw it." "Then tell me." 6th Tomo Rinnegan. "It seems that you have already obtained the Yurishir." Hinata. "Is there anything else? The Otsutsuki clan is indeed very interesting. I don't know how the others in this clan are like." Sasuke can't wait to meet the next Otsutsuki. He learned from Hinata that the evolution limit of the Sharingan is Rinnegan, also known as the 9 Tomo Rinnegan. 6 Tomo Rinnegan alone has greatly increased Sasuke's strength. If it's the 9 Tomo Rinnegan, he should be able to beat Hinata, right? If Hinata knew Sasuke's thoughts, he would definitely say, "You want to eat shit." Hinata's strength is not only in his dojutsu, but also in the level of life. And Sasuke's current state is just an ordinary person who has reached the sage body stage. There is still a huge gap between him and Hinata. What's more, Sasuke can't use sage mode. The gap between the two is even bigger. But this is not what Hinata wants to ask. Floating in front of Sasuke, Hinata asked again, "Look at me carefully, is there any difference? I will give you a chance to reorganize your words." Chapter 577. Well, now is not the time to play around. Before teleporting, Hinata had already seen the situation in the cave. Namake's Minato has been resurrected, and the 9 Tails is about to be sealed. Hinata must also prepare immediately. Well, although Hinata already has the Jubi's chakra, Hinata will never complain about such a good thing. Naturally, the more good things he has, the better. Uchiha. Hinata patted Sasuke's shoulder fiercely. "You wait here for my notice. When I control Nagato, you immediately seize control of the Geto Mazo. Do you understand?" Uchiha. Uchiha. Sasuke's mouth twitched, and his right hand touched the Kusanagi sword's hilt, thinking about how to give Hinata a hard blow. Hinata glanced at Sasuke with disdain. "Just by you? Got it." Sasuke snorted coldly, and decided to write down today's matter in a small notebook, just like Hinata before. If he can't beat him now, he will wait until he can beat him to take revenge. This is the motivation for growth. What kind of nickname should he give Hinata? Big Chick. Hinata closed the 6 Tomo Rinnegan, and used the Tensigan to link the satellite to monitor the cave. Well, we also have to prepare here. Hinata stretched out his index finger and thumb and pinched his chin thoughtfully. Nagato's body is not here, nor is it an Amage cure. Sasuke. You finally remembered the business? This is for you. Sasuke took out a folded piece of paper from the ninja tool bag, and handed it to Hinata, explaining, "Orochimaru asked me to give this to you." Hinata looked suspicious, took the paper and opened it. Oh, it turned out to be Nagato's position. Looks like Orochimaru is quite reliable. I didn't take him in for nothing. I can entrust him with more important missions in the future. If only I knew. Hinata's face was full of frustration. If he had known earlier, he would have sent Orochimaru to seduce Xiao Nan. After all, the middle-aged man was quite charming. On the other hand, Itachi Uchiha was still too young for Xiao Nan. He was not mature enough. Organization's funds. Gone just like that. Hinata still had a big plan. Now that Hinata had planted the Tree of God in the Longqi Cavern, Hinata was prepared to purchase a large amount of metals and bury them near the Tree of God to cultivate chakra metal. If he had a large amount of chakra metal, Hinata would be able to build a real spaceship. Perhaps some people would ask, since Hinata has already learned Yomi no Miyasaka, why is he still obsessed with space battleships? Yomi no Miyasaka was one thing, but Hinata always felt that using space-time ninjutsu was too low. Next, Hinata planned to use chakra as an energy source to develop science and technology. In other words, from now on, Any place that can be monitored by artificial satellites will be the territory of Queen Hinata. As for space battleships, Hinata planned to use a Tree of God as an infinite energy source, and then take the Tensigan between reincarnations, and use it as a planet-destroying cannon. In the future, when he goes out to war, he will directly drive a space battleship, and use Yomi no Miyasaka as a space jump technology, to directly teleport to other people's doorstep. Not convinced? Come on, this move is called Golden Wheel Reincarnation Explosion. It can split a planet. This is the honor that Universe Emperor Hinata-sama should have when he goes out. How can he go out on 2 legs? Travel incognito? When the empire is established, Orochimaru will be the science and technology advisor, Kakuto will be the finance minister, and Sasuke will be the supreme general. Otsutsuki Kagaya will be directly recruited into the harem. Know what? Sasuke's mouth twitched. Obviously, everything was fine before, but in the blink of an eye, Hinata's thoughts drifted away, and his face revealed a lecherous smile. He looked like he was up to something, and he almost drooled. What is he thinking? Ahem. Hinata coughed lightly and came back to his senses. Since you know the location of Nagato, then wait for my good news. Sasuke said with a blank expression. Before we act, we have to find a way to inform Orochimaru. Because you are late. Hinata frowned coldly. Huh? Sasuke said from the heart. In short, Orochimaru hasn't psychic Uchiha Madara yet. So before we act, we have to inform Orochimaru. What? Hinata's face was not good. Orochimaru. Isn't he delaying things? Sasuke explained. Madara is different from other people. He is the key to completing the Eye of the Moon plan. Once psychic, he must be resurrected in a complete state. And Orochimaru can't control Madara's actions. Oh, Hinata understood. Once psychic Uchiha Madara is summoned in advance, his actions will not be restricted. Not to mention bad things, but it may also let Madara perceive Black Zetsu's real plan. After all, with Hinata's intervention, many things are different from the original work. And just like the bordered soil, Black Zetsu must create an illusion for Uchiha Madara that he is invincible. Therefore, Hinata must not expose his true strength in front of Uchiha Madara. I understand. Hinata nodded. Leave the matter of contacting Orochimaru to me, Sasuke reminded. After all, Pain has Rinnegan, your trick won't be discovered by him. Hey. Hinata looked at Sasuke contemptuously, and then dialed Orochimaru's phone through the satellite. Well, the phone call was mandatory and unilateral. Uncle Snake, I'm coming. In the cave, Orochimaru's face did not change, but he looked at Pain vaguely. Seeing that Pain did not notice his abnormality, he was slightly relieved. Immediately, Orochimaru said in his heart, Hinata. Yes. It's me. Hinata nodded. Orochimaru. Don't you feel ashamed? You overslept for such an important plan. Hinata. If there's a new server in the game and I need to level up, I'll definitely wake up. As for the serious business, forget it. After a silent communication, Orochimaru said in his heart, when you control Nagato, you should be able to control Pain through Nagato. Although Konan is not a problem, it's better to solve it. Hinata said shamelessly. I won't do it. Orochimaru. Uncle Snake, I'll leave Konan to you. Hinata entrusted the heavy responsibility. In the cave, Orochimaru unconsciously stuck out his tongue and licked around. Although paper release is not too strong, it's also unique in the ninja world. Good. It's just the right time for the next stage of the experiment. Hinata. Uncle Snake, what are you thinking? Hinata was disappointed. I mean, you're single anyway, and Konan is also a great beauty. I'll leave the rest of her life to you. After today, the organizations will be destroyed. The beauty will be yours, and the funds of the organizations will be mine. Neither of us will lose. This is a real happy cooperation. Cooperation. Happy. Your sister. Orochimaru's eyes twitched, and he almost exposed the abnormality. Pain glanced at Orochimaru with a surprised expression. Konan was also cold, and she felt that something bad would happen today. Chapter 578. After hanging up the communication with Orochimaru, Hinata was also filled with emotion. Speaking of which, Konan is the heroine of countless Naruto doujinshi, and she was accepted into the harem of countless transmigrators. Why is no one willing to accept the task of picking up Konan? Thinking of this, Hinata understood. It turns out that I'm the real heroine. Not to mention that I'm now the heroine of Naruto. Even the silly Byakugan in the manga had a unique eye for choosing men, and she fell in love with the real male protagonist Uzumaki Naruto at a glance. She had 2 children, and they were also talented, and the eldest son was the real male protagonist of the second Naruto. And outside of the shinobi world, there's also the ultimate bootlicker Otsutsuki Tonari. Hinata nodded and inexplicably began to have confidence in this plan. This is fate. What did Orochimaru say? Seeing that Hinata was beginning to feel smug again, Sasuke could only ask. If they wait for Hinata to wake up by himself, it might be tomorrow morning. It's going well. Hinata patted his chest and said, I'm going to do it myself. What else are you worried about? Let's go. Hinata waved his hand and prepared to go to Nagato's hiding place and wait until the Nine-Tails seal is completed. Sasuke followed behind Hinata, hesitated for a moment, and couldn't help but ask. There's one thing I've always wanted to ask. What? Hinata didn't turn her head and asked. It's about Black Zetsu. As far as I know, you're collaborating with him. Sasuke deliberated and said, if I forcibly seize control of the Geto Mazo, will it affect your plan? If it was someone else who made the plan, Sasuke certainly wouldn't ask such a stupid question. However, the person who made the plan was Hinata. Sasuke found it hard to imagine that Hinata would consider everything. You're right. Hinata was stunned when he heard that, but he reacted quickly. It's okay. When the time comes, I will tell Black Zetsu that you betrayed us. Sasuke. Hinata didn't think it was a big problem. After all, Sasuke's surname was Uchiha, and he was the reincarnation of Indra's chakra. You taste it. Being stabbed in the back by Uchiha's men. Could this be called betrayal? This was a normal operation. However, Hinata didn't dare to say this in front of Sasuke. It was fine to let Sasuke take the blame. After all, it wasn't the first time. However, if he were to smear Uchiha's name in front of Sasuke, Sasuke would probably fight Hinata to the death. Sasuke nodded. In that case, it didn't seem to be a big deal. In order to get power, what's the big deal? When he wasn't so strong, Sasuke dared to betray Shinobu and follow Orochimaru. If Sasuke's pursuit of power before was for revenge, then the pursuit of power now is to revitalize the name of Uchiha. Sasuke has already thought about it. He is different from Hinata. He doesn't need so many clansmen. Since there is hope for immortality, then the future generations are not so important. As long as Sasuke himself is strong, then the name of Uchiha is strong. What Sasuke wants is the name of Uchiha to shock the universe. A small ninja world? Since even Hinata is not worthy, then how can Uchiha Sasuke limit his vision to this place? After that, Sasuke continued to ask, after resurrecting Kagaya, do you have any plans? After all, there is insufficient information. Sasuke can only follow Hinata's footsteps to understand the unknown universe little by little. Next, Hinata said, of course the next step is to continue to improve my strength, destroy the Otsutsuki clan, and stand at the top of the universe. He stopped. Hinata felt that Sasuke is very likely to have 100 million points now, and he has the responsibility to remind Sasuke, so that Sasuke won't provoke some strong people on a whim. In the original manga, Sasuke's teammates came to save him on a whim. But now Sasuke has no teammates. Hinata himself may be one, but Hinata doesn't want to be ready to rescue Sasuke at any time. Uchiha, Hinata said earnestly, I'm telling you the ninja world is very dangerous now. Do you think Hagoromo Sannin is a good person? Although Hinata has met Hagoromo Sannin before and felt that Hagoromo Sannin is a good person, at least he's not a gloomy big boss. However, Hinata still decided to blackmail Hagoromo Sannin to the end. Think about it carefully. After Hagoromo Sannin sealed Kagaya, Hagoromo Sannin got the chakra of the sacred tree, and his brother got the shell of the sacred tree. This is obviously a division of the spoils of war. Why do you think they did it? Of course it's for immortality. As Hinata spoke, she started to believe herself. The current ninja world was created by Hagoromo Sannin. So Hamura can only lurk on the moon for the time being. I've seen it on the moon. Hamura used thousands of years to cultivate a yellow Tensigen with the help of the Geto Mazo. It has the true power of destruction and creation. The Tensigen can easily move planets by gravity, which is completely different from Pain's Bansho Ten pull. Seeing Sasuke's serious expression, Hinata's habit of being a teacher flared up, and she continued to exaggerate her own conspiracy theories. In addition, the most powerful boss in the ninja world is actually Otsutsuki Ichibi. Sasuke was stunned. Otsutsuki Ichibi? Yes, Hinata explained with a serious face. Ichibi is the Otsutsuki clan who came to the ninja world with Kaguya, but for some reason the two finally parted ways. Unlike Kaguya, Ichibi not only has his own jubi, but it's also not sealed, but has been lurking in the dark to accumulate power. After a pause, Hinata continued to scare. And what makes Ichibi afraid is the Otsutsuki clan, who lives in the distant outer space. So, although the ninja world is calm now, it's because these people behind the scenes haven't acted yet. Sasuke. The 5 great ninja villages are in chaos, and you call this calm? It's said that the ninja world has been developing for thousands of years, but for these people, thousands of years is just a nap. And Hinata looked at Sasuke and said mysteriously, the arrival of Urashi means that the ninja world has been exposed to the Otsutsuki clan. I killed Urashi, and the Otsutsuki clan will definitely send people to our world again. Speaking of this, Hinata smiled and said confidently, those Otsutsuki clan will definitely not dare to provoke those people. But for us, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Chapter 579. Sasuke's eyes flashed, and his right hand unconsciously clenched slightly, and the excitement in his heart could hardly be concealed. Otsutsuki will send people again. For others, the Otsutsuki clan is definitely an alien invasion, but for Hinata and Sasuke, this clan is a super tonic to improve their strength. He's good, and I'm good too. And Sasuke didn't expect that there were so many terrible enemies hidden in the ninja world. Rikudo Sannin? Sasuke glanced at Hinata. There's also Otsutsuki Ichitsu, a guy who hides deeper. The second Jubi. Hinata will never let go of the second Jubi. In Sasuke's view, the reason why Hinata revealed this information to him was because he wasn't sure that he could deal with the Ichitsu alone. And this information is a signal to join hands. Sasuke was a little excited. Joining hands means that the party who took the initiative to propose recognized the strength of the other party. For Sasuke, who has been bullied by Hinata, nothing can make him feel more excited than Hinata recognizing his strength. This shows that he is already standing on the same level as Hinata. Seeing Sasuke's changing expression, Hinata also nodded with satisfaction. The trick was successful. In fact, for Sasuke, Hinata also has a trick up his sleeve. Sasuke only knows that the fusion of the Otsutsuki clan's chakra can make him strong quickly, but he doesn't know that the most important thing is actually the shell of the sacred tree. Only by integrating with the shell of the sacred tree can he really improve his life level. As for the chakra, maybe it has some effect, but it's definitely not as obvious as the shell of the sacred tree. Let's go. Hinata waved his hand and took Sasuke quietly to the position of Nagato. In the cave, Namake's Minato's face was calm as usual, but his eyes were full of struggle. The soul can't control the body. Even the Nine-Tails chakra can't be mobilized. No. Namake's Minato can feel that his body is actively unlocking the Nine-Tails seal, but his soul can't do anything. Boom. Red chakra spewed out of Namake's Minato's abdomen and condensed into the shape of a fox, but it could only roar unwillingly silently. Not to mention that Sharingan's Sharingan can control over the Nine-Tails. Pain's Rinnegan, Nine-Tails' absolute suppression. The sealing power from the heretic demon statue was like a natural phenomenon, rendering the nine-tailed beast completely defenseless. Seal. Sharingan's eyes is Sharingan's power. Sharingan's Sharingan, SSSSSSS, S, SSSSS his consciousness, S is his consciousness, S, SSSSS, S. S. With a silent vibration, the ghetto mazo opened its last eye, and something seemed to awaken in its body. The thick chakra made everyone feel endless pressure. This is. Even with Payne's calm mind, he couldn't help but be shocked at this moment. This was completely different from the previous feeling. 8 Tails. When the ghetto mazo gathered the chakra of the 9-tailed beasts, it was as if an ancient beast had awakened. Even Payne, the owner of the Rinnegan, felt endless pressure. More importantly, Payne's Rinnegan, no. It's Nagato's Rinnegan. When the 9 tails were sealed into the ghetto mazo, Nagato vaguely felt that the Rinnegan seemed to be giving him some kind of hint. Fusing into one. This hint was like a memory that was sealed in ancient times. It was Nagato's own memory. He must do this because only by doing this can he become a real god. Is it related to the ghetto mazo? In the treehouse on the top of the mountain, Nagato frowned slightly and unconsciously reached out and touched his eyes. This is the hint of Rinnegan. But for Nagato, the Rinnegan at this moment seemed extremely strange. Behind Nagato, a black portal slowly opened, and a small white hand stretched out of the black portal, dragging a green chakra ball. Spirit ball. After doing all this, she silently retracted her hand, and the spiritual ball silently floated towards Nagato. Omniscient and omnipotent. In the world of black and white, Hinata lightly pressed his palm on Nagato's chest. Bang! In the real world, Nagato was hit hard. His eyes were bloodshot, and the pain in his chest made him wonder if his internal organs had been ruptured in an instant. Puff! Nagato spat out a mouthful of blood. His body suddenly shook, and his eyes instantly calmed down. Uncle Snake! Move out! Hinata contacted the satellite to inform Orochimaru. In the cave. Bang! Pain suddenly fell to the ground silently. Nagato! Conan's face changed greatly. She was about to step forward to check Pain's abnormality, but she suddenly noticed something. She looked up fiercely and looked at the other people in the cave coldly. Shadow Snake Hand. Orochimaru tried to attack Conan with a move to test the waters. You. Conan's figure burst back and her face was cold. Did he finally do it? She didn't expect that even Orochimaru would join them. I don't know if Nagato is now. Conan's face suddenly changed. Orochimaru and Black Zetsu were here, and Tendo Pain also fell to the ground. The guy who called himself Madara. Did he go to Nagato? Puff. As soon as the thought rose, Conan felt a sharp pain in her chest. She lowered her head slightly, and a black iron rod penetrated her heart. You. Conan reluctantly looked back, but she could only see half of the orange spiral mask. Madara. Since Madara is here, what's going on with Nagato? It was just a moment. Pain had just completed the seal of 9 tails, and the next moment he fell to the ground. Who is it? Her consciousness was getting more and more blurred, and the things in front of her were quickly losing color. Conan knew that she was going to die, but what happened to Nagato now? You're too cruel. Orochimaru walked towards Conan with a playful look on his face. After checking her body briefly, he looked up at Obito and said, "This is my important test subject. I can't let you kill her like this." Bordered Soil pulled out the iron rod and let Conan fall to the ground. However, this action obviously agreed with Orochimaru's statement. Conan can't turn over a big wave. Orochimaru treated Conan's injury, then stood up and quickly printed with his hands. Edo Tensei. Boom. Another coffin broke out of the ground. Unlike Namikaze Minato's coffin, this coffin was obviously specially made, and contained an important person. Humph. Orochimaru chuckled and stepped back slightly. Uchiha Madara. Let me see it. Uchiha Madara? Although Minato couldn't speak, he could hear and see. If the coffin contained Uchiha Madara, then Minato's eyes turned to Bordered Soil. Who are you? Boom. Boom. Uchiha Madara opened his coffin. Chapter 580. The blood-red laminated armor. You can vaguely see the mottled traces left by the war. His young and handsome face carried the domineering aura of a dragon proud to the heavens. The black hair, well, it's a bit hard to explain. In short, it's okay in the 2D world he looks handsome, but in the real world, he's probably similar to Tony Sensei. 2333. But fortunately, Uchiha Madara's unique domineering temperament saved him, so that he doesn't look so stupid. In contrast, the blonde Namikaze Minato really made Hinata desperate. Namikaze Minato's temperament belongs to the gentle type. Even if he's very handsome, he always looks mentally abnormal. Under normal circumstances, Namikaze Minato's temperament can't be seen at all, which makes him look particularly silly. Hinata. This is true. If you don't believe me, you can go see cosplay. After seeing Uchiha Madara's appearance through the satellite, Hinata's heart collapsed. Hurry up and give me back my domineering Madara, bastard. Nagato, that kid finally grew up. Ka. Uchiha Madara came out of the coffin and looked around at everyone with his 3 Tomo Sharingan. Well. Uchiha Madara stretched out his hands and looked down. Although he perceived that this is indeed the real world, this body is not a normal body. Edo-tensei? Uchiha Madara turned to look at bordered soil. Isn't it Edo-tensei? There's something wrong with the plan. Obito said solemnly. But you will be able to resurrect soon. Black Zetsu walked to Uchiha Madara. Madara-sama, we are going to Nagato to get the Rinnegan back. Uchiha Madara looked up at the Gedo Mazo and said with interest, Isn't Nagato here? Uchiha Madara turned to look at Orochimaru. Are you the Edo-tensei? Forbidden technique. Can't be used indiscriminately. Uchiha Madara seemed to be vague, but this is tantamount to telling Orochimaru face to face that you can't control me at all. Orochimaru spread his hands, chuckled and said indifferently, I'm just responsible for helping, I won't participate in the next thing. After saying that, Orochimaru slowly stepped back a few steps, indicating that he is completely harmless. After all, Uchiha Madara is going to die soon. Since you're a senpai, I'll do whatever you say. Uchiha Madara ignored Orochimaru and coldly glanced at Black Zetsu. Let's go. In other words, except for Hashirama, even if all the ninjas in the world were put together, they would be nothing in Madara's eyes. Boom. With a loud noise, the Gedo Mazo turned into a huge smoke and disappeared instantly. Not good. Black Zetsu's eyes narrowed. Hinata used Nagato to summon the Gedo Mazo? She wants to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki? Careless. Black Zetsu's face changed greatly and he shouted, Let's go! After that, Black Zetsu rushed out of the cave, followed by Bordered Soil and Madara. At this moment, Black Zetsu's heart almost collapsed. This time he was really careless. Who would have thought that Hinata wanted him to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki? When he thought of Hinata's naive face when she wanted to cooperate with him, her pure white pupils were full of sincerity. And she kept saying that she really wanted to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. Black Zetsu, Hinata, you big liar. Black Zetsu felt that he had lived for thousands of years, and he had seen all kinds of people. Even people like Uchiha Madara were played in the palm of his hand. But he didn't expect to be cheated by Hinata, a little girl who didn't seem to have a heart. Black Zetsu recalled the experience of meeting Hinata several times in the past few years. All the signs clearly told Black Zetsu that Hinata was a sincere child, and didn't play any tricks with him. Sincere bullshit. When he thought of Hinata becoming the Jubi's Jinchuriki, Black Zetsu's heart was almost desperate. Kagaya's will was hidden in the Gedo Mazo. To resurrect Kagaya, it's not enough for someone to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki. The Eye of the Moon plan is also a necessary step. And the most important step is Black Zetsu's sneak attack. Black Zetsu is the will of Otsutsuki Kagaya. Only Black Zetsu can really wake up Otsutsuki Kagaya, and let Kagaya come again. But sneak attack Hinata? Don't joke. Is the Jubi's Jinchuriki so easy to sneak attack? Otherwise, Kagaya would have been resurrected through the Sage of the Six Paths. And not to mention the Jubi's Jinchuriki Hinata, even if it's the normal Hinata, everyone present is not the opponent of Hinata. In addition, what worries Black Zetsu the most is that Hinata will destroy the Rinnegan. If it's a little more extreme, he will simply kill Sasuke and let the Uchiha clan completely die. When he thought of this, Black Zetsu's mind was cold, and he almost forgot to think. Of all the calculations, he didn't expect Hinata to betray him in the end. This is the Gedo Mazo. Hinata looked up at the Gedo Mazo, and a hint of curiosity flashed in his eyes. Now the nine-tailed beast's chakra hasn't merged yet, but there is a faint aura of the Jubi, powerful enough to make people palpitate. Through Chakra's perception, Hinata can feel that there is a will hidden in the Geto Mazo. That is the will of Kagaya. Even if Kagaya hasn't awakened yet, he can already affect the owner of the Rinnegan and the Jubi's Jinchuriki through chakra. Hinata couldn't help but think. Uchiha Madara wants to create the dream world. In addition to the hint of the Uchiha steel, will he also be affected by the Rinnegan? After all, normal people will not agree with a false world at all. But this has nothing to do with Hinata. Although Hinata has merged with a trace of the Jubi's chakra, with his will, even if Kagaya revives, it is impossible to affect Hinata. So it doesn't matter if he is greedy. Let's start. Hinata turned to look at Sasuke. Sasuke also turned to look at Hinata. Hinata? Sasuke? Hinata frowned slightly. Hurry up, Black Zetsu and the others are coming here. By the way, after getting the Jubi's chakra, you'd better fight with me. Use your Rinnegan. Knowing that this is not the time to throw a tantrum, Sasuke blushed. What should I do? Hinata? Well, in the end no one taught him. Although Sasuke can summon the Geto Mazo with the Rinnegan, he doesn't have any research on the Geto Mazo. He doesn't know how to extract the chakra. Forget it, let me do it. Hinata shook his head. Sasuke, you prepare the sealing technique. Okay. Responding, Sasuke took out 2 scrolls from the ninja tool bag that had already drawn the seal pattern, and then opened them and laid them on the ground. Chapter 581. Question. How many steps does it take to seal the Jubi chakra? Answer. 3 steps. The first step is to pull out the Jubi chakra. The second step is to guide the chakra into the scroll. The third step is to complete the sealing technique. Sasuke printed with his hands and whispered, "Seal." The spell patterns on the scroll flowed and slowly condensed into 9 cubes. The numbers 1 to 9 were written on the cubes. Okay. Hinata clapped his hands and sensed the situation in the distance. He frowned slightly and said, "Black Zetsu is coming, get ready. Don't bother." Sasuke glanced at Hinata and said coldly, "You continue to complete the plan. As for Madara, I also want to try the legendary power of the Uchiha clan." At the same time, Sasuke rolled up 2 scrolls and put one of them into the ninja bag, and threw the other to Hinata. Hinata. Sasuke-kun, are you interested again? Well, Hinata pondered for a moment. In fact, this is good. The treehouse where Nagato was hiding was on the cliff, and Sasuke's location was about 5 kilometers away from the cliff. And as long as Sasuke showed the Rinnegan in front of Black Zetsu and Madara, Hinata can be cleared of all suspicion. After all, Hinata has already obtained a part of the Jubi chakra from Black Zetsu. Unless Hinata becomes the Jubi's Jinchuriki, there is no need to absorb too much chakra. Thinking of this, Hinata nodded. Then I'll leave it to you. After that, Hinata opened the space door and returned to the treehouse where Nagato was. Nagato. It's a pity. Hinata shook his head and sighed and began to control Nagato's hand seals. Geto reincarnation technique. In the woods, Uchiha Madara, who was running quickly, suddenly stopped. Madara-sama? Black Zetsu was eager to say something, but after seeing the state of Uchiha Madara, he suddenly froze, and then his heart was surrounded by joy. Resurrected. This was a true resurrection. The art of reincarnation. Hinata did not break her promise. She really resurrected Uchiha Madara. This also means that Hinata did not become the Jubi's Jinchuriki. However, why did Hinata want to communicate with the geyser statue? On the other side, the cracks on Uchiha Madara's body were slowly healing, and the Edo Tensei body was transforming into a flesh and blood body. Touch, heartbeat, blood flow. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha Madara looked up to the sky and laughed. He was finally resurrected. This body is his body. Although it's not clear what Black Zetsu and Bordered Soil are doing for the time being, since Uchiha Madara has been resurrected, everything is not important. Whether Black Zetsu and Bordered Soil's plan succeeds or fails, since Uchiha Madara has been resurrected, then, crack, crack. Uchiha Madara's eyes turned into fragments and fell. He had given them to Nagato before he died. He may be able to use the power of the Rinnegan in the Edo Tensei state, but now that he has been resurrected, he naturally returned to his original appearance. Uchiha Madara. The blindness of his eyes slightly affected Uchiha Madara's excitement after his resurrection, but it didn't matter. Uchiha Madara looked up and closed his eyes to the distance. I feel the power of the geyser statue. As soon as his words fell, Uchiha Madara turned into a shadow and rushed to the distance. Sasuke? Seeing the figure standing on the geyser statue, Black Zetsu and Bordered Soil were slightly stunned. Uchiha Madara curiously asked, Sasuke? Bordered Soil looked at Sasuke and explained to Madara. Uchiha. Sasuke. He's an excellent descendant of the Uchiha clan. Just like you, he opened that eye. Oh. Uchiha Madara heard this, although he couldn't see. He already felt the amazing fighting spirit from Sasuke. Interesting. Uchiha Madara looked up. It seems that you want to fight with me. Wait. Black Zetsu was shocked. His eyes? That's the Rinnegan. Bordered Soil stared at Sasuke's eyes. It's really the Rinnegan. And it's not an ordinary Rinnegan. One of them is completely different from Nagato's Rinnegan. Is it a higher level Rinnegan? Black Zetsu didn't know what to say at the moment. Things seemed to be completely out of control. Although Hinata kept his promise, not only did he resurrect Uchiha Madara, but Hinata wasn't the one who summoned the geyser statue. But Uchiha Sasuke is such a ghost? Not only did he open the Rinnegan, but one of his eyes also evolved into the 6-Tomo Rinnegan. And looking at Sasuke, he seems to be planning to rob the geyser statue? Black Zetsu. Why is it so difficult to resurrect Mother? Black Zetsu was almost sure that even if Uchiha Madara regained his full strength, he would not be the opponent of Sasuke who opened the 6-Tomo Rinnegan. Unless, let Madara become the Jubi's Jinchuriki. But the geyser statue is still in the hands of Sasuke. Bordered Soil also wanted to say Imempi at the moment. Bordered Soil knows how to open the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. And he knows how to open the Rinnegan. But Bordered Soil doesn't have a brother. It's this limitation that made Bordered Soil lose the possibility to go further. Originally, Bordered Soil planned to rob Nagato's Rinnegan. But who would have thought that the Rinnegan could evolve? If he had known, he would have robbed Itachi's eyes. Otherwise, he wouldn't have fallen to this point because of his lack of strength. Uchiha Madara. Sasuke held the Kusanagi sword hilt with one hand and looked down at Uchiha Madara. His tone seemed to be a little disappointed. Now you don't make me interested in you at all. When the words fell, Sasuke turned slightly. Although Sasuke was still in front of Uchiha Madara and others, Sasuke's meaning was obviously to let Uchiha Madara go and take back his eyes. Uchiha Madara almost laughed. Uchiha Madara, am being looked down upon. And the people who look down on me are the descendants of the Uchiha clan. I can hear that you are very young. At the same time, Uchiha Madara dug out one of White Zetsu's eyes and pressed it on his own. A green light flashed on his hand, and Uchiha Madara opened his eyes. Seeing Sasuke's young face, Uchiha Madara missed it. It's too similar. Sasuke's face is too similar to Uchiha Izuna's. I can give you a chance. Uchiha Madara said casually. Join me, how about it? Sasuke's eyes moved slightly and glanced at Uchiha Madara from the corner of his eyes. I don't want to take advantage of people. I will also give you a chance. I also want to see the legendary power of the Uchiha clan. Oh. Uchiha Madara looked at Sasuke and said, it's really good eyes. Having said that, Uchiha Madara really felt that he was in a dilemma at the moment. It seems good to get his eyes back over Sasuke, but this is undoubtedly a sign of weakness to Sasuke. But if he fought with Sasuke like this, without the power of the Rinnegan, Uchiha Madara had no confidence. Chapter 582. The wind whistled. Sasuke stood proudly on the Gedo Mazo, facing Uchiha Madara. Uchiha is a proud surname. Whether it's Uchiha Madara or Uchiha Sasuke, they are proud to be Uchiha. The two generations of Indra reincarnated, the collision of the two generations of Rinnegan, whether it's Madara or Sasuke, they all know that this battle is inevitable. However, with the pride in Uchiha Madara's heart, he can't just cross Sasuke and take back his own Rinnegan. because this road was given to him by Sasuke, not by Uchiha Madara with his own strength. Madara-sama. Black Zetsu looked at Uchiha Madara, and his meaning was obvious. Now was not the time to fight over personal feelings. Bordered Soil was always indifferent, and his expression was hidden under the mask, so people couldn't see what he was thinking. Even before the Gedo Mazo was summoned, Bordered Soil didn't use Kamui to check it, but chose to follow Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu. Counting Uchiha Itachi, the only 4 Uchiha clansmen left in the world, each of them has their own thoughts, and each of them has their own stance. In fact, the Uchiha people who can open their Rinnegan are all persistent people. If you are not persistent in love, you will not understand the pain of losing love. Since you are persistent in love, you will naturally be persistent in other things. Humph. Uchiha Madara snorted, glanced at Sasuke, jumped up, took Black Zetsu and Bordered Soil over the Gedo Mazo, and ran in the direction of Nagato. Uchiha Madara is not a person who avoids fighting. With Madara's pride, even if he lost his Rinnegan, he will fight Sasuke with all his strength. It's rare for him to be resurrected and meet such an opponent as Sasuke. Uchiha Madara wants to have a decisive battle with Sasuke before he becomes the Jinchuriki of the Jubi. However, Uchiha's battle was ultimately a conversation between the eyes. On the other side, seeing Uchiha Madara running towards him, Hinata hesitated a little, and finally opened the space door and left quietly. There seemed to be no need for them to meet. Hinata decided to stay hidden for the time being, and keep an eye on Uchiha's Bordered Soil. However, before leaving, Hinata quietly ended Nagato's life. Hinata admired Nagato's ambition. No matter what, he was fighting for the peace of the shinobi world. It was a good idea, but the truth of this world was that the winner was the king and the loser was the bandit. The Gedo Golem, Hinata, walked out of the spatial gate. "Why are you here?" Sasuke asked with a frown. Hinata looked at Sasuke coldly. "Can't I come?" Sasuke looked into the distance and said coldly, "The battle between me and Madara is inevitable. I am an avenger. I have never forgotten the culprit who destroyed the Uchiha clan." Hinata, "I almost forgot about it if you didn't mention it. Who do you want to kill?" Hinata raised his eyebrows. Sasuke was a little silent, and his tone eased a lot. "I have a sense of propriety. Compared to revenge, the revitalization of the Uchiha clan is more important." Hinata nodded and said, "Itachi also came to the Rain Country." After a pause, Hinata continued, "But this morning I didn't find Itachi's whereabouts in the Rain Country. Either he has left, or he has found a way to avoid detection. Any ninjutsu has flaws. Hinata monitors the shinobi world with artificial satellites, but to put it bluntly, he relies on the ability of the Byakugan. And there are too many means to block the detection of the Byakugan." Sasuke turned to look at Hinata and frowned slightly. He doesn't want to face Itachi. Itachi is too attached to the village. Hinata said, "I will hide in the dark and monitor the movements of the Bordered Soil and Itachi." Speaking of this, Hinata suddenly thought of Itachi Uchiha's test at the time. Hinata doesn't think that Itachi Uchiha can detect the surveillance of artificial satellites. And Itachi Uchiha has lost his Sharingan. With his current strength, he can't stop anything. Itachi Uchiha can at most confirm the information, and then inform Shinobu. Is he testing? Or does he want me to think that he is testing me? Hinata secretly analyzed. If it's the latter, then it means that Itachi has left the Rain Country at this moment. So annoying. Hinata pulled his hair, and decided not to waste his brain cells. He just needs to watch the Bordered Soil, and let him do the rest. With strength, you can be willful. Treehouse on the top of the mountain. Humph. It seems that even the physique of the Uzumaki can't bear the cost of the Rinnegan. Uchiha looked at Nagato casually, took back the Rinnegan and pressed it in his eye socket. Feeling the huge power of the Rinnegan, Uchiha proud Madara was full of fighting spirit, and the surging chakra instantly broke out. Black Zetsu and Bordered Soil took 2 steps back at the same time, barely maintaining their posture. Without looking at Nagato, Uchiha Madara turned and walked out of the treehouse without hesitation. "Uchiha's kid. Before the Eye of the Moon starts, let's meet that kid first." Looking up at the sky, Uchiha Madara sneered. Anyway, there's still some time before it gets dark. Bordered Soil turned to look at Uchiha Madara, and Black Zetsu turned to look at Bordered Soil at the same time. Like Hinata, Black Zetsu didn't think that Bordered Soil would easily give up the idea of completing the Eye of the Moon project alone. Although it's not clear whether Bordered Soil knows the secret of Hinata and Black Zetsu. The only candidate that Bordered Soil can take advantage of at this time is Uchiha Madara. At the same time, Shinobu Ninja Village. In the meeting room of the Naruto building, a ninja of the communications class slammed open the door. Naruto-sama. Seeing the 5 Kage turning their heads at the same time, the ninja of the communications class slightly sweated on his forehead and said, Naruto-sama, there's important information. Huh. Tsunade said loudly. Give it to me. Yes. The ninja of the communications class quickly handed the bamboo tube to Tsunade. This is, seeing the code on the bamboo tube, Tsunade was slightly stunned. Anoki curiously asked, Naruto, what's wrong? Tsunade explained with a dignified face. This is the emergency contact method of the Umbu. Only information related to Shinobu's safety will be used. The code can be changed at any time, but the most important thing now is to gain the trust of the villages and promote the alliance of the 5 great ninja villages. Opening the bamboo tube, Tsunade poured out the secret letter inside. Itachi Uchiha? The number of words on the letter is not many, and it doesn't seem to be important information. Although the information involves the Akatsuki, it's far from the level of threatening Shinobu's safety. Orochimaru, the masked man who calls himself Madara, the Akatsuki leader Pain, Black Zetsu, and Konan gathered in the Rain Village, and it seems that they have gathered all the tailed beasts. All the tailed beasts? Tsunade got up fiercely, and after calming down he quickly turned to look at Jinin, and said with a horrified tone, Orochimaru. Chapter 583. Hearing the name Orochimaru, the other 4 Kages turned to look at Tsunade at the same time, and their faces weren't very good. In the past few years, Orochimaru has been jumping up and down, and he has offended almost all of the 5 great ninja villages, except for the Rock Village. He's the most powerful man in the ninja world. Orochimaru? The 5th Raikage Darui scratched his head and asked, Naruto-sama, the Jinchuriki summoned by the Edo Tensei shouldn't have the real power of a tailed beast, right? Due to the 5 Kages convention, Darui was appointed to succeed the position of the 5th Raikage, and officially changed his name to A. Yes. Tsunade nodded and looked around, and after a moment of silence he said, Everyone. The situation in the ninja world has reached the most critical moment. As the Raikage said, the Jinchuriki summoned by the Edo Tensei doesn't have the real power of a tailed beast. But, 15 years ago, the 9 Tails attacked Shinobu and was sealed by the 4th Naruto, and since then, after a pause, Tsunade took a deep breath and continued. According to Shinobu's confidential records, since then the power of the 9 Tails seems to have been weakened a lot. Everyone frowned slightly when they heard this. With the rigor of a ninja, it's impossible to find the word seems in the intelligence records. Tsunade recalled the confidential information he had seen since he became Naruto. After the death of the 4th Raikage couple, the 3 generations naturally checked the seal in Naruto's body. The seal was very stable, but the power of the 9 Tails seemed to have been weakened a lot. The 3 generations originally thought that Minato deliberately weakened the power of the 9 Tails in order to prevent Naruto from being bitten by the 9 Tails. At that time, they didn't care and just recorded the information. But now it seems that there's a story behind it. Thinking of the stolen mask of the Uzumaki clan, coupled with the information of Shiki Fongjin, many things can be connected. Orochimaru has been out of the organizations for many years. Why did he suddenly return to the organizations? This may be the real reason for the cooperation between the 2 sides. And this information, it was sent by Itachi Uchiha. Obviously, it's impossible for Itachi Uchiha to report to the Shinobu, and this information. Obviously, Itachi Uchiha felt the crisis, but he didn't know where it came from because of the lack of information. This information should be something that Itachi Uchiha wanted to confirm. I can't wait. Taking a deep breath, Tsunade explained some of her guesses to everyone. At time we's villages is village. And in Maru. Time village. Shinobi's SSS. There was silence in the meeting room. Tsunade's face was very dignified, but it was hard to convince people. Indeed, the power of the bijou is very strong, but it's not invincible for a Kage-level ninja. Inoki is confident that he can destroy the bijou alone. If it weren't for his old age and the slow casting speed of the dust release, Inoki wouldn't even put Hinata and the organizations as leader in his eyes. The Cloud Village suffered heavy losses in the previous war, and it's not enough to start a war. Sand Hideout Village is divided into two factions. Before the younger faction takes power, my love can't control the village at all. Although Terumi may wants to deal with the organizations, after seeing the end of the Cloud Village, she doesn't have much confidence. What's more, the villages had the idea of letting Shinobu and the organizations fight to the death. It's best if Hinata and Rinnegan Pain die together. If the 5 major ninja villages join forces to fight the organizations, the biggest loss will definitely be the core ninja. The Edo Tensei army is not a joke. Ordinary Chunin may not be able to control the outcome of a war, but they are the economic pillars and intelligence spies of the village. Without these ninjas to perform tasks, how can there be extra money to develop the village? If after a war, Hinata doesn't die, but other ninja villages suffer heavy losses, how can they resist the expansion of Shinobu? For a time, countless ideas flashed through the Kage's mind. Tsunade's face was ugly. She didn't expect that it would be so difficult for the 5 major ninja villages to join forces. No matter how she analyzed the situation, presented facts, and explained the threat of the organizations, she couldn't convince everyone. Because Shinobu also threatened the major ninja villages. The organization's leader Pain can single-handedly destroy the Cloud Village, kill the 4th Raikage, and capture the Hachibi's Jinchuriki. Hinata, who tied with Pain twice, also has such strength. If these two don't die together, the other ninja villages won't be able to play. Tsunade glared at everyone, her chest was undulating, and the anger in her heart was almost uncontrollable. In fact, Tsunade also thought about using Shinobu's strength to fight against the organizations. But after discussing with Nara, she found that this won't work at all. It's not that they don't have enough strength. It's that regardless of winning or losing this war, Shinobu will become the target of public criticism. If they win, they will become the public enemy of the ninja world. If they lose, the village will be in danger. What's more, other ninja villages may wait for the opportunity to attack Shinobu's strength. Naruto-sama. My love was the first to speak. Personally, I would like to advance and retreat with Shinobu, but, my love continued. I think it's imperative to send a reconnaissance team to sneak into the Land of Rain to inquire about information. It's not too late to decide the next plan after the investigation is clear. My love's thinking is very simple. As long as it is determined that the organizations are plotting to subvert the ninja world, she will have enough reasons to persuade the old stubborn people in the village. Over the years, my love has also matured a lot. At least, she understands what politics is and the way to survive in the ninja village. To be honest, if the organizations really have the power to unify the ninja world, they can also give the Sand Hideout Village a place to live after unification. The plan of those old people is not impossible. At most, she will just give up the position of Kazekage and participate in the war as an individual. Naruto is one of the few recognized friends of my love, but as a Kazekage, my love will not drag the village into danger for a friend. An individual can choose a position with friendship, but the village must choose a position with interests. Tsunade's face relaxed a little, looking at my love slightly nodded. I agree, Mei said. Instead of acting without knowing anything, the most important task is to figure out the conspiracy of the organizations. Inoki thought about it and agreed. Since Naruto, Kazekage, and Mizukage all said so, this old man has no opinion. Let's do it. Without asking Raikage's opinion, Inoki directly made a decision. It seems that everything should be like this. The village lost nearly half of its combat power. If it weren't for the threat of the organizations and shinobu, Anoki would have already sent troops to attack the Cloud Village. This is very realistic. But it is precisely because of this reality that it is the biggest obstacle for the 5 great ninja villages to join forces. Chapter 584. Shinobu, Hyuga Residence. Looking at the back of the Umbu, Hinata showed a strange look on his face. In the Rain Country, Sasuke and Madara are fighting. After this battle, Madara can immediately become the Jubi's Jinchuriki and launch the infinite Tsukuyomi. Well, the time is tonight. What about the 5 great ninja villages? Even if they immediately form a ninja coalition to fight, it's too late. At this critical moment, the 5 great ninja villages want to inquire about information first. But this is also normal. According to the procedure, it's the ninja's style to inquire about information first and then act. It's said that they are not afraid of godlike opponents, but they are afraid of pig-like teammates. The organizations are definitely a god-level opponent, and the 5 great ninja villages are indeed pig-like teammates. Sneaking into the organizations to inquire about information, Hinata's strength must not be missing. Even Jiraiya is in the team for this operation. The 5 great ninja villages don't trust each other, and in order to be able to inquire more information, a total of 5 teams were organized. Shinobu only has 3 people: Hinata, Jiraiya, and Kakashi. Well, Hinata was a little distressed. This wood clone won't be seen through, right? Although the wood clone looks no different from the real body, it can't refine chakra. The amount of chakra consumed is the same amount. If he flies all the way with Kakashi and Jiraiya, even if it looks like the real body, it will be exposed. After getting dressed, Hinata rushed towards the Naruto building. Actually, things have developed to this point. It doesn't matter whether we are exposed or not. Hinata has the power to destroy the entire ninja world alone. If he didn't care about some of the former friendship, he didn't want to live alone. Even if he took the whole Hyuga clan to betray Shinobu, so what? Squeak pushing open the office door, Hinata looked around. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Jinin, and Kakashi were all there. It seemed that he was the last to arrive. If you want to gather information, just set off immediately. Is there anything else you need to tell me? Hinata asked curiously. The 4 people in the office turned to look at Hinata at the same time. Tsunade said solemnly, "This time is different from the past. I have a bad feeling about this." Your premonition was right. Hinata stood beside Kakashi and pretended to listen attentively. Tsunade continued. Orochimaru, Pain, Konan, Ju, and the masked man have all gathered in the country of rain at the same time. According to intelligence, they seem to be planning a major conspiracy. It's very possible that they've already gathered all 9-tailed beasts. Jiraiya said, but Naruto. Tsunade waved his hand, signaling Jiraiya to stop talking nonsense, and then said his guess. It was the first time that Hinata heard this information. He thought that Shinobu was kept in the dark and didn't know anything. The power of the 9 tails was weakened. The organizations didn't care about Naruto. The Uzumaki mask was lost. Orochimaru returned to Akatsuki, coupled with the description of Shikifujin in the Book of Seals. All signs indicate that the 4th generation should have divided the 9 tails into 2, half of which was sealed in Naruto's body, and the other half was sealed in Namake's Minato's body. Although this was just a guess, Tsunade thought that it was not far from the truth. Jubi. Thinking of the information he had secretly investigated over the years, Jiraiya's face became extremely ugly in an instant. Pain, it should be Nagato. Nagato wants to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki. Jiraiya said solemnly, Rinnegan plus the power of the Jubi, the next Rikudo Sannin? And not only that. Through the last exchange, Nagato's purpose is to rule the world. If we let him achieve his ambition, the ninja world will be finished. Hearing this, Hinata couldn't help but roll his eyes. Isn't it good to unify the ninja world? Rather than saying that the ninja world is finished, it's better to say that Shinobu is finished. But fortunately, at least the Eye of the Moon plan hasn't been exposed yet. If the organizations just want to unify the ninja world, the 5 major ninja villages can't join forces at all. Just like the higher-ups of the Sand Hideout village thought, If they can't beat them, then join them. At most, they would turn the conflict between villages into a power struggle within a force. For those higher-ups, it won't have much impact at all. Jiraiya continued with a heavy face. In addition, the enemies from outside the world have also noticed our world. Outside the world? Kakashi was confused. Jiraiya told Kakashi some things about the Otsutsuki clan. And then continued. Tsunade, compared to the organizations, these people are the real enemy. Hearing this, Hinata also nodded slightly. This is the Jiraiya I know. Although he didn't say it explicitly, Jiraiya didn't want to fight against the organizations. The battle between the 5 major ninja villages and the organizations consumed the power of the ninja world. If foreign enemies take advantage of this opportunity to invade, the ninja world will have no resistance. What's more, if Nagato is really strong enough to be invincible in the ninja world, he can also block the invasion of the Otsutsuki clan. Tsunade, this is my idea. Jiraiya finally said. As for how to choose? Tsunade crossed his hands on the table. The expression on his face was uncertain. What Jiraiya is worried about is not only the interests of Shinobu, but the survival of the entire ninja world. Let the ninja world fall into internal friction for Shinobu? Or give up on Shinobu? Let the organizations rule the ninja world and face the possible invasion of the Otsutsuki clan together? This choice is difficult. This is especially true for the Hokage. Once the latter is chosen, then Tsunade will be the king of a fallen country, and Shinobu is the precious treasure left by Tsunade's grandfather, Hashirama. He closed his eyes in pain, and his chest kept rising and falling. Obviously, Tsunade's heart was also in pain. 2 choices, no matter which one he chooses, Tsunade seems to be a sinner. The difference is nothing more than a sinner of Shinobu and a sinner of the ninja world. Boom. With a loud noise, the desk was smashed into pieces. Tsunade looked up at Jiraiya angrily. I shouldn't have listened to your nonsense and ran to be Naruto. Jiraiya sighed with a wry smile on his face. Who would have thought that the situation in the ninja world would be so bad? Taking a deep breath, Tsunade turned his gaze to Hinata. Hinata, you should also be able to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki, right? What the hell? Hinata was dumbfounded. Why did she suddenly get involved in this? Tsunade looked at Hinata and said, according to the intelligence, the Otsutsuki clan has the Byakugan. Perhaps, your qualifications should be the reverse of your bloodline, and you have part of the talent of the Otsutsuki clan. If it's you, you should be qualified to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki, and maybe it can make your eyes evolve again. Speaking of this, Tsunade turned to look at Jiraiya. If there is a choice, then the only one who can change all of this. Maybe only Hinata. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.